listening to The Bomb Hole.
Bomb Hole Podcast.
It's going to be very hot. It's going to be very uncomfortable for everybody.
The Bomb Hole.
I'm gonna slide down them big hills, you know what I mean, on the big, nice burgundy snowboard.
All right, big day today here in the booth at the Bomb Hole, which is presented by Pub Beer. Now, first things first, always got to ask, Stony Buds, how are we doing?
So good, my dog.
Whew, that was a good one, Buds. Yeah, good energy. Now, to my left, we have Jake Olson-Elm, also known as Jake O.E. in the booth today. Jake, how we doing?
What's up, brothers? Doing good. Happy to be here. Happy to see this in reality. I'm a big fan of the wall, so it's kind of cool to see it. And obviously, got to spend a few days with the homies, so fucking stoked.
Just like old times, you know. Happy to have you in the hole. Now, for our listeners that may not know who you are and your body of work, going to do a little brief description. Now, Jake O.E. is a Midwest juggernaut. That's right, juggernaut that pushed street snowboarding in the best direction. His riding has always been loose, wild, yet calculated. Jake knows how to have a great time, which we will talk about today in the booth. He is beloved by his peers and his fans. And if you know what's up, you basically know Jake O.E. is one of the best and realest to ever do it. Now, Jake O.E., I'm here to learn today. You know, you seem to live like a great life. And, you know, I'm looking for some life advice, you know, like maybe we could talk about the key, you know, you're recently engaged, you know, maybe is there any keys to successful relationship, things like that, Jake?
Oh, dude, absolutely. And and actually, I've learned this a lot, like coming as like a dude and like women, like technically I'm married, not engaged.
Oh,
and
you're married.
And
I butchered that.
You're married.
Yeah, I got married about 200 days ago.
Congratulations.
Thanks, brother. But it's funny too because like everyone's like you have to like do these rings and like all this stuff, and like I knew nothing about it. Like I thought you got married, and like literally bought my lady a ring. I was super pumped on it. I actually spent like 6 months. I actually created the diamond, blah blah blah, which is like shout out to all the boys out there if you really want to. You know, make your lady happy, like design the ring, like go all out. But
see, we're learning already.
It matters. It's like, and it's cool because then like that's the rock that they have forever, and it means a lot more. But I remember like life advice or whatever, and going to weddings, I was like probably like 3 weeks from the wedding, and all of a sudden I realized like, shit, that's an engagement ring. That's not like the ring. Like you have to get 2 rings.
I did the same thing, dude.
And I just all of a sudden like shit because there's so much going on with planning a wedding. I was just like, oh my God, I blew it. Like this is it. I actually blew it. Like this is gonna be those ones I'm never gonna let down. And I kind of like I don't know if I was like very direct with it or like gentle. I was like, God, it'd be kind of cool if you just like I don't really like that ring is so cool. Like maybe we don't add anything to it, And she's like, oh yeah, that was my plan. I was like, thank God.
Oh wow.
I was like, oh thank God, you're a goddamn saint.
She was down.
She was down. Like I didn't know if she had like some idea. Like oh yeah, like I picked the ring and then I give her another ring, and then I was like, yeah. Anyway, so write that down.
Dude, that same thing happened to me, and I blew my wad on the first ring, and then I found I had to get another one. But I ended up getting one, but I had no idea. So yeah, nobody tells us.
This is a learning podcast
huge,
for people. Now, Buds, why don't you fire off that Patreon?
Let's go.
Let's get into a Patreon right out of the gate.
All right, we have a Patreon question here from Patrick Shambrook.
So sick.
Regarding no highbacks, how about today riding out with your mates and also on a POW day? Do you ever put them on?
Good question. I kind of get that a lot. So the whole highback thing, like the way it started is actually with the Signal Boys, Mark Waranga, Dave Lee, they're the owners. And we're having like a good time in Big Bear. And one day they're like, dude, you should try this thing. Like Mike Rankwit does it. Dave's really good with Mike Rankwit. They're all homies. Like we're all doing like no highbacks. You should try it. And I was just like a shithead snowboarder. I was like, abso-fucking-lutely. Like I was like, let's do this for a weekend. And I'm riding. And I loved it because, like, you can do certain things you can't do with highbacks. Like, maybe not to the pristine eye, but, like, just the way it feels. And then, like, I just fell in love with it. I did forever. And then realized, like, I was actually like a pretty good rail rider, like in my like younger years, like just before this. And all of a sudden I realized like I was losing a lot of tricks, like with rails and control. And like I would see like my front 270 or like my back tail 270s. And I was like, damn, like I can't really do that without high backs. Like I can, but it doesn't look as good. So then like mid-career, like I tried to go back and I just can't go back. Like because I had to, like, when you have no high backs, like you have to turn differently, especially in your heels. Like I feel like my shoulders are more like this and I'm like leaning all like 7 different directions. And then like over high backs, I can't do it. I'll catch my edge and I'll fall. So like I don't like, go for it if you want, but I don't necessarily suggest it.
Well, he asked about a powder day. I mean, people ride with no bindings on a powder day. So
Yeah, powder day.
You can ride anything.
Yeah, no big deal. Like you can ride those snow surfers. Like that's like it's.
How do you do on a wicked icy day?
It's tough. A lot of 180s. a lot of 180s. Like
Fluttering around.
Toe side to toe side?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like
A little bit of falling leaf scenario sometimes.
But that's fun too. Like now when I snowboard, like it's really cool because it makes riding down like the hill more fun because like I have to kind of like look ahead of like, oh, this is gonna be a big heel side turn. I gotta like kind of get my shoulders up and I gotta wrap up. Or if it's like gonna be really deep, I'll just do 180 and do it switch and carve. So like there's really cool aspects of it. But if you're trying to be like a ripper on a rail, like I don't know if I would necessarily do it.
Well, the high back is crucial for people that are unfamiliar. They're like initiating heel side turns.
Yeah,
So it's like an absolutely. But I love it. You also are known for riding with your boots untied.
Was. So yeah, sir. I went ham. I was like, oh my God, no high backs. This feels so cool. Like this is sick. And I really was loving it. And then I was like, I'm going to start untying my boots. Like, this is even sicker. To the point where, like, I would get new boots, and the first thing I would do with them, I'd put them under my truck, and I would drive over them. Like, I'd put them up like this, like, pushing the toe down.
Wow.
And, like, really stretching. I'd park my truck on it, go back and forth, put them on.
The boot warranty people love this, by the way. The warranty department. Keep going, though.
And then I would cut the tongue off of the boot. So now there's no tongue. Now they're like literally wearing boots. And then like a year later, I started getting some pretty bad ankle issues.
I think I saw some of that go down.
And I'm like limping and I'm just like kind of thinking about like, what the hell am I doing? Why is this like, I just love the feeling. It's just like with certain tricks, like I will say it feels so cool. Like when you do like a really good lip slide, or if I can put together like a back lip and you land it, because it's harder to land too, like, and you ride away, like that feeling is priceless, and it works out. But like, it also makes it harder. Yeah. And I was like, this is my job. Like, what the hell? Like kind of like really like, I wasn't like trying to be like this core dude. It was more actually for myself. But then like, and then I like was like went super tight boots. And like at that point, I was like probably not wearing gloves, like long hair, whatever, like super core. Like 2 years after that, we got tight boots. I got like these little Burton hammocks. So I do have like little high backs now. They're like these rubber things, which are that saved it for me because then now I can actually kind of hold a heel edge. Before I couldn't, and then and then I started wearing long underwear, gloves, jacket, face mask, and it was warm. I was like, looking back, I was like, what was I thinking?
You were like doing everything possible to make the experience harder.
I was like, I was like, just so I could like ride away feeling a little cooler.
Yeah,
If you
nothing
look at-
anyone else can see.
Snowboarding technology has like climbed so far from its rudimentary days of Sorels and shitty bindings, and all of a sudden you're like, no, I want to make it very different. I want to make this trick that's difficult and make it exceedingly more hard.
You wouldn't even wear long underwear?
Oh, dude, it was bad. Like, and
freezing
then
out there in the
but you get
Midwest.
used to like the cold weather, and like it wasn't like this idea of like you're looking cooler. It just felt like it felt good, like just being a rat. Like, and I was such a rat snowboarder growing up. Like, definitely no gloves. Like, I remember it being like legitimately riding a Highland, and one day it was no shit negative 20 degrees outside. I don't even own gloves, and I remember being like this is like a danger because I was fine riding, without no gloves, it was like -5, no big deal. I can't even go outside today if it's like below 32 without gloves on. But I honestly, I do believe your body adapts to it and it doesn't really matter. So it's like, I was just kind of like able to be comfortable. But anyways, that day it was -20 out and I was like getting frostbite in my hands and I went into my car and I found socks. And so I put socks on my hand so I wouldn't get frostbite. And I'm riding this and like, I think that was kind of the moment where it started to click. I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't know.
What about the rope tow?
The rope tow, dude, if you carve up, you can grab on. And if you like, so like the rope,
for
the people,
if you're matching the speed of the rope,
yeah, and like,
it's not uncomfortable in your hands.
Yeah, like the people that don't really know like rope tows, like that's a big Midwest thing. Maybe like somewhere on the East Coast, probably not. But it's like the key. It's like the rope tow in itself is an art form, and it's like a lot of people will go up and like they'll have these gloves and like they sit still and they'll grab it and like they go to the bottom and like hop up and grab it. But the key is like when you land your last trick, you're already looking at the rope tow, so then you can take a wide carve, ride back up the hill, so when you grab it, you're going the same speed as it. So it's not, there's no force.
What about all the other people around or your first time getting on that for the day?
But then I would go like this with my sleeves.
Okay.
And I would go like that.
Gotcha.
That's how I would get on.
And you also don't just grab the thing. You got to kind of ease your hand. That's the thing. I see people rip their shoulders out of their sockets, and it's like, dude, you got to just
go
ease onto her.
Yeah, and like, yeah, we're not really there to make friends. So if there's someone in your way, you gotta learn the hard way, bud. And like that's how I grew up riding. I got pushed off a lot, and I'm not saying like you're not giving the stiff arm, but
it's kind of like the surf lineup out there.
It's more like a hockey. It's like a hockey mentality.
Yeah,
you
rope check somebody and grab it, and bam.
It's always. I mean, it's really fun. Like you just get like comfortably close, and you're gonna jerk them kind of because you're coming in hot, and like if they fall, it's like, well, that's how you learn. Like you got to figure out the rope though. Like that's the key to life.
That's the key to life in the Midwest.
Now, I want to, we were talking about this earlier, and I want to talk about, you're not really in snowboarding as much as you used to, but you said something very insightful about the things that you miss about it.
Yeah, man, that's the crazy part, and it's been fun because I've been out here now for like 3 days, and I've got to like really like hit on some of like those old memories of like all the things I miss. It's like, honestly, it's everything like besides snowboarding. It's like seeing the homies, like hanging out in the hallway, getting those early chats, like, got to hang out with Ryan Runke for a little bit. He's he might be my like new current spirit animal at this point. But like all those, like it's so sick because like if you don't have snowboarding, you don't really have this connection with people you don't know, and like you just get in there and it's like, what's up? How's it going? Like it's easy to meet people, and like now like I'm on like the other side of it, and it's like for example, like I'm really big in like bow hunting, and like I try to do it a lot, and I always think of like as snowboarding, it's like how thankful I am because I had all those friends to snowboard with, right? But like with like bow hunting, I'm like, I don't know anyone, like I don't even know how to meet people, like, and like so like everything like with snowboarding, it's like all those random things, like sitting in the car talking with you guys, like a lot of lifetime friendships that like I definitely don't take for granted. And it's like, and that's cool because like we'll get older. Like I've definitely distanced myself, not like on purpose by all means. It's just the way life goes. But it's like I can come back here to Salt Lake, and I've just been doing the runs, hanging with the homies, and it's like not a day has passed. It's like, dude, what's up? How's life? And that's the real special part about it. And like all the jokes, and it's just like, I don't know.
I think there's something special to be said there too, because if you think about having the foresight to realize that if you're on a snowboard trip with your friends, or you're filming a video with your friends, and you're hung up on the fact that, we had bad conditions, or we didn't get a trick, that could be the mentality when you're on a trip. It's like, oh, this sucks. But really looking back, it's like the tricks, sure, they matter. But what you really remember when you get some like retrospective perspective on it is that like the things that you remember the most, like you said earlier, like the hallway beers, the chats in the van,
Oh, dude, hallway beers is like my favorite. Like that was the best. Like you go on you go filming, and like maybe you complain a little bit in the morning. Like I thought I was pretty positive. Like I was enjoying it, but like you get beat down. It is a lot of work. Like there's nothing easy about it. Like you are fucking grinding. But when you get home and you gotta like figure out dinner and like someone wants pizza, someone's like that stuff kind of gets old. You're just like, just go get some fucking food. Like God damn it. And then but like you get back and everyone's like, the day's accomplished. Like, you know, someone landed a trick. What I'm doing, I'm going cracking a beer. I'm going and sitting in the fucking hallway. And everyone just kind of sits up because like we'd have sometimes, you know, you have like, you know, filmers and writers. So you'd have 3-4 rooms. You don't like want to sit in a room because maybe someone's tired and editing or uploading photos or video, maybe. He's like, oh, I gotta go upload some footage. I can't hang out. I'm like, oh, okay. No, but so we always go hang out in the hallway, and then I love it too because you definitely make an impression on at the hotel. They're like, what the fuck are these guys doing? Like they're just like here for a month and they just sit in the hallway and drink beer.
Now we got Airbnbs too, so that's nice. You can just have that family room.
Yeah, but you don't have the hallways. You know, it kind of throws it all off.
So you're gonna go hotel over Airbnb?
Nah, I'll probably go Airbnb. Right. I like cooking. I love cooking. Like not like this. Like I like cooking like as a family. Like when you're like at the spot, like making breakfast. That's fun.
Made the whole crew breakfast at Bomb Hole Cup.
Yeah, I figure like I was like I could contribute maybe. Like,
family meals are where
I was
it's
like,
at.
you guys are all working so hard, which like honestly, good job. And I'm just kind of sitting there like being a pile. I'm like, so maybe I'll make breakfast for everybody. Like that'll be my role.
Dude, those snacks were clutch.
They're clutch, isn't it? It matters. Like, because then like not only that, like the food, whether or not like it's good or not, you just save so much time. Like I'm just trying to avoid the conversation of where should we eat today.
And also, everybody loves the guy that or girl that cooks food on the trip. You're instantly like, yeah, we should have him back.
we need that guy in every
we
trip.
should have like it's Harrison Gordon too. Prime example.
Yep.
He loves chefing. You're like, yeah, we got to get Harrison on this one too. And he's like chefing it up. Yeah,
I'm just trying to niche my spot out for
those
future invite.
family meals together too on trips are the best.
It's cool, and then like you can spend more time together and not drive around and look for whatever something to eat.
Yeah, and everyone wants to go to a different restaurant. Like
everyone wants to go to a different restaurant. People get like the older you get, people get picky. They're like, let's get Asian food. Let's get burgers. Let's do this. It's
somebody just wants a head of lettuce, maybe. And
I started doing that towards the end. Like I just buy groceries for like if we're going on a road trip. I just be like, yo guys, like let me know if you want. I'm just gonna buy all the groceries. We're gonna be staying at the Airbnb, and I'll just cook, and we can split at the end if you want. And then it's just easier, and then you just can focus on more fun stuff.
Love it.
Let's run it back to we didn't really talk about the early days of Jake O.E. Young Midwest. Hungry, up and coming Jake O.E. What did that look like, Jake?
So sick. Dude, honestly, just a rat. Like my life was like 120% snowboarding. Like I fell in love with it. They're actually okay, so you can go deeper. The way I got into it was strictly because I skied with my parents growing up, like when I was like 2, 3, like really young. They'd take me out. And I'd see these guys snowboarding, and they were wearing cool hats. And I was like, I want to wear a cool hat. Those guys are cool. And I was just like, immediately realized how lame skiing is at that early age, thankfully. And I was just like,
the snowboarders had cooler hats. Than the
yeah, they were just cooler. And I was just like, please can I snowboard? Please can I snowboard? And my dad was like, no, you got to wait till you're 13, blah, blah. And I was like young and like, please, just begging. I want to snowboard. And then finally they cracked down. They're like, I think we went to Highland. We rented a board and went to the tow rope and immediately started crying. I remember this. I was like 8 years old because I couldn't snowboard. I could ski. Like, I honestly don't even remember skiing, but like I know I could at least like get on the chair, like maybe get on a tow rope, but on snowboard I couldn't. And I spent the whole day like crying because I was like, this sucks. I want this so bad. So then I got into it, and then finally, like, progressively got into it, and then, I don't know, man, it was like that scene at Highland was so insane, like, Joe Sexton, Ricky Tucker, Jonas Michelot, like, we were all just kids snowboarding, and that's all we did. Like, and it's really cool because, like, we even have cell phones at the time, I'm pretty sure. We definitely didn't. But everyone was always going to be there. Like, you never really had to ask. You just knew the boys were going to be there. And that's all you did. You just snowboard. And it was kind of sick because being from Minnesota, being a pro snowboarder wasn't a thing. So there was really no carrot at the end of the stick. Like, I don't think any of us like were like, you have to, you have to ride backcountry. You have to go to Colorado. You have to do this. And we just like what we were doing. And so we just rode and like that pushed each other a lot. And yeah, then so anyways, fast forward, we all ended up becoming pro snowboarders, which is like crazy looking back at it. But it was just like, there was no like, it just loved snowboarding. We just wanted to snowboard and that's all we did. And we were just rats, like no gloves, no hats. And it was just like, that was the main focus. And it was like, and I do kind of feel bad for kids now with like Instagram and like, you can be somebody, but like if you get to that core love and like passion for it, that's where it really matters, is because if you're just focusing on snowboarding and like that's it, like maybe it'll work out. And that's how I feel like it worked out for all the Midwest guys, the Minnesota guys. But yeah, so anyways, yeah, so that was pretty much just absolute rats, like having like, dropping ramps. And then like True Life came out and that fucking blew my mind. Actually, the very first video part I've ever seen was, and that's right when DVDs came out. And so like my parents bought me a snowboard video because my other friends were watching snowboard videos. So I was like, so I missed that whole like Destroyer, like all those videos. I never saw them growing up. I didn't watch videos at that point, like the early years. And when they got me it was True Life, and it was a DVD player. It was like the first one like we had. And I couldn't figure out how to work it. And so I'm like trying to figure it out. And sure as shit, the first video part of me seeing someone street snowboarding was Nate Bozung. And I was just like, my mind was just absolutely changed after that. I was like, you can hit shit in the street outside of the resort and you can do all this stuff. And then after that, like I literally think the next day I convinced my mom to drop us off at the grocery store to hit a handrail. And because I saw them do it, I'm like, oh, instantly I could do that. Like, that's like no big deal. And like we set up like, I think we set up like 2 carts up, and it was like this sick, like small down bar, but like not like that small. And I remember my buddy being like, you don't have to do this, man. It's like, it's okay. And I was like, no, they did it. I can do it too. It's cool. And then we did it. And then like after that, I was like totally hooked. It was game over. I was like, yeah, this is like, literally this is my life. Like blinders on 100%.
Sounds like you set up the spot the same way you would probably today. The level of shittiness.
I know. I will take that back. I've come full circle. I feel like towards the end there, I was a damn near god at setting up spots. Like
Towards the end there.
I have a career in creating children's sledding hills someday, because with the torch and like banks and everything, that there's a full technique that Ethan Dicey is another pro snowboarder. Him and I have definitely come up with the art of like making sure spots are like beyond dialed, and that's an art in itself. Like some guys aren't like that, and that's definitely how I began. Like no highbacks, no boots, a little bit of snow. Like this will be fine. Like, and just like I think it was more like I didn't have the fucking patience to set it up and like breathe and like realize that like this will probably be easier if you make it easier on yourself and like spend the time to think about it. Like don't just throw stone. Like, all right, we gotta go. Like I gotta do this right now, and like try it for a long time. But yeah, towards the end, like I think I got pretty fucking dialed with like it became a craft.
All right, Jake, I think it's a good time to get into a guest question, which is also the same as a Patreon question we had from Nate Robertson. Jed and him asked the same exact question. So that being said, here we go.
Hey, what's up, Chris? What's up, Buds? And what's up, Jake? Jake's one of my favorites, and I know I'm not the only one. It's easy to watch him snowboard, and it's easy to see that when he is snowboarding, it's super authentic, and he's not faking the funk, or like he is kind of always in his own lane doing cool shit. And my question for you is just, when you were filming a lot, where were you drawing inspiration from, and like what kind of stuff were you watching to get you hyped before you were going out to film? And yeah, that's just my question for you. I love you guys. I hope that the episode's going well, and yeah, peace.
Damn, so sick. It's crazy. Yeah, I've known Jed for a long time. I remember when he was like a rat, and Anyways, where I drew my inspiration, like obviously, like it's kind of a cliche, but burning bridges, absolutely love hate, like that was my life. So like for me, like my videos was True Life, Happy Hour, and then the Burning Bridges videos, and I don't know, like I honestly think I drew more inspiration from like I thought those guys were super cool and like they're pushing it this way, but I also pulled it from all different aspects. Like watched a lot of skate videos, and I pulled a lot of inspiration from that, which is funny because I don't skate, but like I always thought like I'd see them do things, and it's just like when a skateboarder does like a wally, for example, there's like that moment of like they're gonna fall off and like the board's gonna fly, and I always thought that was cooler. Like, and probably that's why I was like more like detached from my bindings and stuff, because I was like thought that like feeling looked cool. But I don't know, man. I like my inspiration, like it's so freaking random. Like it would come from absolutely nowhere. It would just be like an idea. Like I was always thinking about it, and like I think of like a trick. I'm like, well, that would be kind of cool if you could do it this way, or like this kind of spot would be cool, and that was it. Like I didn't really have like this like predetermined like look like I was like going for. I think like it was just like ideas that would come into my head, and I'm like late at night because I'd have a hard time sleeping. I'd just be like, whoa, what if you did it like that? And then that's more like mainly where it all came from, is just like very spur of the moment then too, because there's like all these like little thoughts in my head that I haven't really concrete or written down per se. But yeah, that's
You know what's amazing too is like if you think about Videograss, you fit in there so perfectly because it's rough around the edges. It's you know, you kind of had what Meyer would call Jake make, which is not like your textbook. Take a Jake OE in a Mac Dog video with like a big cinematic camera. I don't know that it would work the same way.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, maybe, but the way Meyer was able to capture your snowboarding, where you land a trick, you ride away, and there's that famous one and last ones where you roll your eyes, and he rolls it, and like that's the like he's able to capture your total personality by like zooming in on your eye roll as you land, like, oh god, you know, and like, that's the best shit ever, right?
I will say that eye roll was like, I forget, it was probably Riley, because he would always be like, okay, the kind of like what you're saying, like with the Jake make, it was like I was always like, I guess I was authentic in the way of like if I landed, I'm like, that works, like that's it, like that looks sick, like it's like I really do like Jake Kuzik, the other pro, like, super sick guy, really good snowboarding. He's so calculated. Same with Louis. Like I always really looked up to their riding, and my riding was like kind of different. Like if I landed a trick, that's it. Like I'm down. Like I
You're like this. You're like, dude, I think it's sick.
That was pretty sick.
Dude, I like it.
But I will say that eye roll, like when I'm riding away, I'm pretty sure that was Riley filming. Yeah. And I was looking, and I don't do that trick. I think it was a switch back tail or like blunt 270. I don't think I've ever done that trick in my life. And it was like one of those spur of the moments, like, that'd be kind of cool. I'm going to try that. And I did it. And I was riding away, and I knew he was going to say that trick doesn't work. And I rolled my eyes. I was like, it's fucking going in. He's like, I'm not doing it again. That works, Riley. Which Riley Erickson's.
Let's give him an air horn.
Yeah, Riley Erickson's a fucking man. He was big homie, big filmer, and definitely like House of 1817. Like we go way back. Filmed my first video part. And
let's talk about that. Is
Yeah.
that Bad Ideas?
Bad Ideas.
Bad Ideas, which we'll have on the screen for the YouTube, is the part where you rode to Janis Joplin.
Janis Joplin.
That was where I saw. I mean, I met you with Joe back in like the 1800s with fucking.
I got a good story about that actually.
Oh yeah. Run it up.
I don't know if you remember this. Like the first time we met, it was actually we were like 16 or 17. And that's when like Joe and I were snowboarding. He was going with the high cascade in the summertime, I'm pretty sure. And he started like became friends with you. And he was like, hey, there's this guy like Adam Malinsky. He's a filmer. Like, do you want to go on this trip to Mammoth? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, sure, I'm down. Like, I just said yes. Like, I don't even say no. I was like, of course, yeah, let's go. And like, we're able to make it work. We go out, and I don't even know who we're going with. And I think it was like you, Scott Stevens, Granger, Adam Malinsky, and probably somebody else, and Joe and I, and like we were riding. It was like this cool. We were like super freaking young, And then I was like super pumped, like that was it. And then like I never saw you again for like maybe a year or two. And the next time I saw you, you were driving down Government Camp in a shitty Mercedes that you had just bought. Right? Cadillac.
Yeah.
Cadillac. And I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
I was like, that is so sick. He was driving around in a Cadillac. I was like, Granier's the fucking man.
That new money.
Cadillacs
Couldn't
are
spend
dope.
it fast enough when I started getting paid.
And I was like, no way. I was like, and it's so crazy looking back. Like, that's like a half a life ago. If you think about it, like, that's forever ago. So it's like crazy to even like
Half a
see like
life
what
ago.
it is. Like, that's a long time ago. And it's like so cool to see your friends like from like this early on ages and like where they're at now, because you definitely have friends like that, like with high school, and you don't know where they're at because they're not snowboarding and they're not in front of a camera. And so it's like really cool to just like look back at those memories of like when we're all like rats and like see how they develop and how they like create themselves. And so anyways, I always thought that was funny. That was like my first memory. Remember I was just like Grenier driving around in a Cadillac. I was just like, oh, he's the fucking shit.
Yeah, we were that was good times. Now going back to the bad ideas part, I remember that part came out and like we got our hands on that DVD and we were like, Jake OE is the fucking man. And you're just slaughtering rails. And one trick in particular we got to talk about that still still could be like an ender today is you did a hard way back 180 to switch nose press down the rail. And you didn't ollie, you ollied.
Yeah.
And that was like, we were like, holy shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was super anti the nollie backtail 270 because I always thought that just looked kind of like no hate out there, but like I always thought that looked whack because it's like it just seems more powerful if like when you go up and you're doing a backtail, you get up, you ollie, and you land on it. Versus like this is so much easier sometimes, I feel like, and I always like the big ollie. And then I don't know, I was starting to do that trick a lot. And definitely wasn't premeditated or anything, but like that was a trick like I was like really wanted to emphasize I was not nollying. Like I wanted to just do a really big back 180 on switch nose press. Yeah. That whole video part was so sick. Like, and I remember too, like that year is like I think I was like 18 and like out of high school. This is my first year out of high school. And like you're doing things outside of like your parents' thing. And I remember I had $300 and I remember being like so happy I'd saved this money. And that was all the money I had for that year. And I was like, and we just made it work. We just went out and it didn't matter. We were going out filming. We had spots and we were going to film as much as possible. And that was it. And I love that video part. That's probably still my favorite video part, like to this day, just because it was so pure and like so ratty. Like this is just like pure passion, like full snowboarding. Like I want to make a sick video part and like no gloves, jeans. And
Why'd you choose Janis Joplin?
I was just obsessed with Janis Joplin. Like I always was. Like I always thought she was just so cool. And that was before like I even got like deeper, like learning more about her. Like reading her books, you kind of realize like she's a very like kind of like deep, sad person. And like she got into drugs and unfortunately died. And all of her songs are about like pretty much not being loved. And you can just like feel that from her music. Like you can just feel it from her belly. Like when she's talking, like it's like it's the real deal. And I always really admired it. And it's like, actually now kind of looking back, like that's kind of like how I was snowboarding that year too. It was just like really giving it my all. And so I always really resonated with her. So, yeah.
Another notable thing about that part too is, that was one of the first times I was seeing sewn in pants and stuff like that.
How tailored in?
In regards to that, I have a guest question from your dear friend, Mr. Joe Sexton.
Yes.
Hey Jake, it's your fishing buddy / golf partner / overall admirer of you as a person. I have a question for you. One thing we always nerded out about as kids snowboarding together was fashion and gear, particularly snow pants. One part of my question would be, why did we sew in our snow pants back then? Who were we influenced by? And as your career changed and your style and preferences changed, Was that a conscious decision, or was that something you were just kind of rolling with, like as you transitioned into a little bit more functional outerwear and things like that? Was that a conscious choice, or just sort of going with functionality? I love you, dude, and hope you're having a great time out there. Later.
So sick. I'm glad Joe got on there. He's the fucking shit. I know exactly what he's getting at too. So okay, so it's like snowboarding. Like for us, I don't really know what happened, but like that's like when Tech 9 was really hot. Like you guys were all out, and Joe was even wearing like baggy pants, and something clicked. And I don't know why, but like we all just started wearing jeans, tight jeans, and maybe it was like because like Cooley and Nemo were doing it, and like we were obsessed with it to the point where like Joe for sure, we go to spots and like if our jeans didn't look good, like if our fit, like our shot was ruined. Like we couldn't snowboard. If the jeans didn't look good, like we couldn't snowboard. So we had like our prized possessions, and like a big thing we always had, we had like the Nemo pant that like, so our buddy John Hodge, like the creator of House of 1817, was a great snowboarder back in the day. Yeah, big shout out to Hodge. And I don't know, it was just our thing we bonded over was wearing tight jeans.
Didn't Joe have like a big old jersey with tight jeans?
Yeah, early Tech 9.
That was a transitional period for him. He was like Tech 9 because like we always like we were never like, because I feel like there's like sometimes like there's like those crews, it's like the tight jean guys like don't really mix with the Tech 9 dudes or like whatever, and we were definitely never like that. We just thought it just looked so fucking cool to wear tight jeans and whatever, and so we would nerd out. And Hodge had a sewing machine, so like I was getting like at that point I think I was sponsored by like on like the rep level with DC snowboards, and they definitely don't have anything close to like what I wanted to wear. So we'd bring over to Hodges and we would just sew it all in, make it as skin tight as possible, and making snowboarding harder again.
Yeah, harder to move around, huh?
So man, you're like, dude, this is sick.
This is sick, man. But like it mattered so much to us because like if you do a trick and you're riding out, and we were obsessed over like pants, like those pants look so sick, like no fucking way. So we really like pushed each other, and like we have our pants and jeans, and then you get a little bit older, and then like start realizing that like going back, like seriously, no gloves, probably a long sleeve shirt on, some epic band tee that you went to and got from the thrift. Everything's from the thrift store, and shout out to the thrift store. That means that needs to make a big comeback. Like kids are a little too clean these days. We need more thrift store stuff. Mm-hmm. But I got one more thing to say about that. But anyway, so like the older I got, I was like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I making my life so hard? Like, just because I think it looks cool, and that like passion, and like for sure that all that matters. And then like I all of a sudden like I remember I was just like riding with some homies. Actually, like I think with Riley Nickerson, and he was wearing XLs. I was like, dude, can I wear your snow pants? I was like, whoa. And then I was riding for Quicksilver, and they had like all these crazy warm underlayers, and I would just load up on them, and I'm like, I'm never going back. I was like, this is so much easier to just be warm, not complaining, not shivering before you hit a spot, and you're calculated, moving a little slower because you're not so cold and trying to warm up. So yeah, that was like
complete fashion over function at first.
Oh, absolutely fucking lootly. Like that was everything. Like fashion, like long hair.
That's all
like,
that mattered.
Yeah, long hair and kind of like going back to it. Like that was our thing. We would snowboard, and like during those days, it was snowboarding. We would take a break. That break would consist of not going and eating because we don't eat. We would go to a thrift store and look for band tees, look for all of our stuff, take our break, warm up, and we would go back out with our new band tees and put them on. And like that was like the progression of like everything. Like we'd get up, go snowboarding, go to a thrift store, like find some sick shirt, and then if you found like a really sick shirt, like you'd probably save that for the right spot.
For the right spot.
And I remember like waking up in the morning, I'm like, not thinking about snowboarding. I'm just like, what shirt should I wear today? That would be really fucking cool.
The old kit crisis.
Just like Waxing boards? Nope.
Dude, your setup is just destroyed at all times.
Destroyed. And I loved it, like, to the point where it's like bags of thrift store clothes just like laying around and going through it, and some serious gems that I still hold on to. But that was our thing. We just loved thrift stores, loved music.
You're always wearing stupid hats, too. Those stupid bad ideas. You got like a sideways hat. You look like, it's like so amazing.
Yeah, I think I like a lot of, I got really big into Hawaiian print there for a while. I remember that. I was like super stoked on Hawaiian print, and like, but it's like, you know, people say look good, feel good kind of thing. I guess it kind of goes to that. Like, if you got to a spot and you didn't feel good and like your kit, like, probably not getting a trick that day, bro. Like,
No.
you gotta be looking good. So
Did you ever get any pressure to move west? Because you guys were like the first wave that didn't move out. You just stuck.
dude,
to
that wave
Minnesota.
was crazy. I think I don't know, man. Maybe it's just for me, it kind of blindsided everybody in a sense where like I remember riding one day. We were doing preseason at Wild Mountain, which is like a classic spot for everyone to do preseason, and it's probably like Ethan Dice, Mike Casanova, and myself, and we'd always play skate. Like, we'd set up a flat bar because it's just a hill, so we could drag rails out, no jump, and we'd do tricks on it. And I remember seeing Mike Casanova snowboarding, and he was just like throwing us under the rug. And like, I'm like, dude, you are so good at snowboarding. I remember, like, in my head, I was like, why are you not a pro snowboarder? Like, why is this a thing? Why is like all the pro snowboarders live out west? Like, why are there no like snowboarders from Minnesota like doing like, because street was becoming a thing, and like that was the year that he went to contest and just blew up. And then like, I don't know if it was just after that, but then all of a sudden like all your friends like became sponsored and like now pro models, and it was just like a light switch. So no, never any pressure to move ever. Like, everyone was just like you're seeing sick, change nothing. Like, just keep doing what you're doing.
Now, I have a question. I know earlier you mentioned Hodges, and he had, I know he had a quote in regards to like AMs being better than pros.
Whoa, damn, that goes so deep. Did Joe tell you that?
I heard that you say that on Airtime podcast, actually.
Oh,
That's so sick. Shout out to Jody.
Yeah, no way. That's so sick. Okay. So, yeah, I remember like it's kind of like that era. We were talking about pro snowboarders, and Hodges is very forward thinking kind of dude, like curated the whole look of 1817 for sure. And like, he was like, why don't we do like little edits on like the Monday, like before, you know, Instagram, everything. It's like, let's just put out an edit like of what we do on Monday. So we started doing Monday minutes, and we would just go out, whatever we got that day, it was going on kind of vlog style. And I was just like, I'm down. Like, that's sick. And then like, anyways, so like, yeah. But anyways, so when it goes to, and I still think this is so true today that like AM snowboarders are always going to be better than pro snowboarders, because that's just the way it works. Like, if you want to be a pro snowboarder, it means you have to be better than a pro snowboarder. You can't be just as good of them, because then they're not replaceable, which is kind of a harsh way of saying it. But like, I was even watching like the Bomb Home Cup on the Open versus like the pro section, and like people are like, damn, they're going ham, like they're going nuts. Like, I'm like, yeah, because they're going to be better. Like, they are probably better, you know, at this point. If they're all becoming AMs, they're going to be better than pros. And that's just the way it works. And I think that's so cool, because like, I feel like that's the way it works, is like when the AM is like all of a sudden like they're crushing it, and then they are better than the pro, it's like that's when they become AM. Like, that's when, so it's like when you're better than a pro is when you become AM. And then like something has to happen for you to become pro. But like, if you're like not sponsored at all, like, you have to be really good at snowboarding to the point where you're better than a pro snowboarder. I always thought
the AMs got all their eyes on them at that contest, where the pro, they're already established. They got,
they're established, and they get lazy.
yeah, they could
and
get hurt. Like,
Yeah,
I think
they're
that's
maybe having fun.
That's a great perspective, though. I think for any kid trying to come up and realize, why am I not sponsored? Why do I not get paid? I saw a pro do this trick on the rail. I did the same trick, and I think that perspective shift of being like, well, I got to be, if I want to be AM, I got to be better than these guys, is like,
yeah,
it's great advice.
Yeah, like you're just seeing like someone doing like this is whatever. Like, now everyone's really fucking good, and I'm not really keeping up with the tricks. But like, if a pro's doing a front board on a 2.7 and you do a front board, no one's really gonna care. But if a pro does a front board on a rail and you do a cap 270, that's when it starts mattering. Like, you have to be better than them to, get to that AM level.
You need to be the guy that impresses the pros.
Yeah.
And then the pros are all talking about
And then they're like, whoa, yeah, exactly. And then, like, that's kind of just the way it works. Like, there's obviously in snowboarding, like, there's no, like, regime of, like, certain check marks you have to do. But just from, like, an outside view, like, it's totally true. It's, like, 100% true. Like, if you want to be a pro one day and, like, at least get to that AM level, you got to be really good at snowboarding. Like, and you got to be, and more importantly, you got to be easy to travel with. I feel like that's a crazy thing, because you can be a really good snowboarder. If you're not fun to hang out with, like it's not going to work out. And, like, that's cool though. Like, I really back that, because that's what makes the community sick. Like, you can't be some asshole that's really good at snowboarding and you suck to travel with. Like, you're not getting invited back. Like, cook breakfast, maybe you'll get invited back next time.
If nobody wants you in the van with them, yeah, that's a bad move.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Like, that was, like, for me, like, with other people, like, I didn't, like, necessarily bring, like, a lot of, like, guys up. I gave, like, advice, but, like, if there was two guys that one was way better than the other, and this guy's super cool and he's pretty good and he's got a cool style and he's fun to hang out with, like, all day long, that guy's rolling with, because that's what matters. It's like, that's the vibe, and that's snowboarding. It's not it's a sport, but it's not.
All right, we're going to take a little break here and talk about some Bubs collagen protein. Chris, I know you got a fresh injury. What you got going?
Yeah, well, Jones, I just obliterated my shoulder, just completely exploded this thing, and I've been chugging collagen protein powder in shake form. I've been putting it in the coffee. I've been trying to get as much down the gullet as I can to come back from this injury, because I know you shattered both your legs, and I heard you were chugging Bubs collagen protein to get back.
Yeah, I started chugging. I've been consistent on it for 2 years now, and like it will do to your collarbone, you keep that going, keep it ingesting it, it's going to glue those bones back together. It did my legs for sure. They were in lots of pieces, my right one specifically, and I avoided 2 surgeries that the surgeon wanted to do just by taking Bubs and getting that bone to grow and getting some material in there so it could remodel and do its thing. So I'm backing it. Lubes me up. My gut's solid. I like it. This stuff's proper.
Well, the thing is, too, we're just a couple old war dogs out there, a couple old battle dogs trying to stay in one piece, and sometimes you need a little collagen to do that. And I know that a lot of our listeners are probably in the same boat. They're, basically a lot of Baja miles on these chassis. So if you want to keep going, get yourself some Bubs Naturals. 10% of all profits go to charity, which is really cool. It's a company owned by a snowboarder named Sean Lake. So that's huge. Snowboarders supporting snowboarders. And lastly, if you want to pick some up, head on over to bubsnaturals.com. Use promo code BOMBHOLE for 15% off. Again, all lowercase BOMBHOLE for 15% off at bubsnaturals.com. All right, it's time for NTVP. Now, Name That Video Part currently does not have a sponsor, so it's sponsored by the people. This one's sponsored by the Patreon members. This is a podcast funded by our sponsors and funded by people to buy merch, and also funded by our Patreon members. So if you want to support the podcast, the thing that's awesome about Patreon is the more Patreon subscribers we have, the more we can say whatever the hell we want, and we don't have to abide to any sponsorship obligations, and we have free media speech. So that's what makes it really special that we're supported by you guys. Obviously, of course, our sponsors as well. But this Name That Video Part is presented by Patreon. Now, if you want to sign up, you can find a link at bombhole.com.
Love it.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about sign up? You could sell anything, couldn't you?
Patreon, I'm a big Patreon guy.
This guy's the most full of shit human I've ever met in my life. Jake O'Lee. All right. So we always asked confidence level 0 through 10. What do you got, Jake?
I'm feeling like I'm feeling 12.
12.
12. We never got there before.
Yeah, that's a respectable number.
I just I've done my research. Research in the sense I've watched a lot of podcasts of you guys, but haven't watched video parts in a long time. But I think I can dive deep.
Would you say homework's done? Time to hand in the paper?
No, I think the homework's done. I've seen it. Now it's just time to do my thing.
All right, here we go.
Burning bridges. This is Hebel.
Woo!
That is like almost too easy.
Yeah, well, I do have to say, you did talk a lot about burning bridges. If you didn't get it right, that was right, by the way.
Yeah, 12. Duh.
12.
Obviously claimed it.
And that would have been a really bad look if you didn't get that.
Really bad.
You already commandeered your prize pack, but pull that thing out. You just won that. You weren't going to have to go home with that if you didn't win.
I love
So you got the bomb hole tote, which is available, great for grocery shopping at bombhole.com.
I'm actually a big tote guy myself. I bring this into the office all the time, and I think everyone thinks I'm a fucking psycho. They're like, who the hell is this guy walking out with this goddamn tote? I'm like, it's just nice.
No one else in the office is rolling totes?
No. I'm the long hair. What are you talking about?
You look, looking like you came right from a Pantera concert on the way in.
Yeah. Yes. Love this.
The staple hoodie.
Yeah, you're loaded up.
I got something to say about that video part. Can I say that quick?
Of course.
I remember there was always a thing that Joe Sexton, that we've already been talking about, would talk about is, like, once we got to, like, having 3 clips of that year, because in that video part he had 3 clips, it was like, okay, like, at least we can have a video part because Hebel did it. He only had 3 shots and a really fucking sick video part. So that was always like the threshold. It was like, okay, yes, got my 3 shots. I'm really stoked on. I'm like, let's keep it moving. But that video part was sick.
3 shots and a note at the end.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Wow.
Name that video part 2 is for the people. If you know the answer, you comment on the photo of Jake on Instagram. When his episode comes out, the thumbnail photo, the first photo of Jake, that's where we select our Name That Video Part winner. What did they get, Buzz?
They are going to get a prize pack.
Some Bombhole miscellaneous goods. Okay, this one's a little too easy.
And I shouldn't say anything.
You can
We'll beep
say
it
it.
out.
We'll beep it out. if
Bleep
you
it
know.
out, because I saw you guys done that before.
We've done that.
Game over.
You don't even need to say it. You know what it is.
I actually have no fucking
Oh,
clue.
you don't?
I know the song. I know it.
Wow.
Wow. All right. You have a friend that's going to be disappointed with you. Let's see. Yeah, beep that out.
Beep that out.
All right. Here we go. Thank you for playing Name That Video Part. Now, let's get into some Jake OE stories here. I got some. We've spent, the thing that's great about us three is we spent a lot of time together.
A lot of hallway beers.
We've been to Finland. You stayed at my parents' house in Massachusetts.
Oh, that's right.
And let's just start with one of my favorite clips, which we'll have on the screen for YouTube, is when we went out and we hit the wall into the bank where Scott Stevens got the cover. And your first go when you came in, you went to do a backside alley-oop and basically like upside down pancaked into the wall. Can you walk us through that, Jake?
Walk that through. That was probably a lot to do with coffee. I would say is like I like one thing I would always drink like way too much coffee in the morning, get all fired up, and I was just like, oh my god, this is gonna be so sick. I'm gonna go like super fast. And we built that thing like that. Steve was doing the 1-footer. I remember like I was doing a back 3 and I jumped and it wasn't the best jump. And all I remember looking at was glass because there was like glass above it. And I think one of them I like came close to it and it was just like full like explode. I was just like, not going well today. I was like upside down. I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, it's probably like one of those things. Like, I don't know if this ever happens to you guys, but like you're riding in and like you completely had zoned out. And all of a sudden you're like, wait, what am I doing? Like, like, that's right. I'm like hitting the, like, what, like I'm hitting this thing. And I probably like forgot what trick I was doing and like what aspect I was going at. And yeah, a lot of backseaters.
You actually got signed prints of the make, shot by who, Buds?
Myself, Stony Buds, a.k.a. E. Stone.
Which you got your signed poster or whatever. You're selling photos, right?
Well, this will be available on bombhole.com.
But
Autographed
another
by
great
Jake.
way to support Stony Buds is
www.e-stonephoto.com. Check it out.
and you can buy
Prince galore.
prints galore if you're looking for more prints.
It's actually crazy. You have like the Mark Frank print on there, which that's a fucking classic. It's that print's still sitting at my parents' house to this day.
Which
on
one? The
wall.
one that we have in the office here?
The The one he fell on, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
like
the
he
one,
eats shit.
the one in Japan,
He literally eats shit, and I was like,
love
it.
that shot though.
Yeah,
It's about the moment.
it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Someti-
look at you. You landed upside down your first time on the wall, but you got it.
Now let's talk. Let's
Dude,
talk
an interesting
about,
thing on that trip though. Do you remember when he fell asleep? You might have been asleep too at your parents' house.
Oh, the photos. No, I was partying.
You were out with your brother.
I was partying, and I was with my brother.
This
and
guy falls asleep at your house, and we put like your parents had a nutcracker collection or something, and we put every little nutcracker thing on top of Jake, and he was just passed out with like 100 little statues on him.
Yep. My mom
Good
was like,
times.
"Chris, I got you a nutcracker every year for Christmas."
Every one of them was put on top of Jake that night.
Shout out to my mom. Let's give her
Yeah.
a horn.
I think
Shout out to letting us crash at the house like that.
yeah.
That was cool.
I also
yeah.
remember the bungee back for the alley-oop, or the Stevens one-footer. We were pulling it, and I was the most hungover human being. I
Ready
think,
to
on planet
die.
Earth.
I will say, but that's when we started doing the car pullback.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that
yeah.
was like, I think that was like an organic move that maybe happened then. I don't
Groundbreaking.
know, but I think like we're all like kind of tired, and it was a fucking bungee pole,
Yeah.
and like we were getting really tired. And I don't know whose idea, but we're like, why don't we just pull on the car?
Yeah.
And so you were just driving the car back, and you grab on it and fly into it. It's like, well, if we're pulling the car back, we probably go a little faster now, and like shoot the moon.
Shoot the moon. What a crew we had. Dude, Bradshaw was there, right?
I will say
Scotty
that
Stevens,
that
you
was
two.
actually, it's right here.
Yeah.
This is that from that trip.
Yeah. Me, you, Stevens, and Bradshaw.
That-
Bud's shooting photos.
What a crew.
What a great
Justin
trip.
Myers filming.
No, that was really fun.
Another clip we have to talk about that was your ender in the last ones, which is one of my favorite video parts of yours.
Thank you.
Was the Cab 270 backlip on the Providence Rail. And he literally, I see him go switch lip, and I was like, oh, I think he's eyeing something up. And then first try, you went hard weight Cab 2 backlip, whatever you want to call it. And just laced, and the boys went nuts.
I remember that day. It was like, I think that was kind
That
of
photo was shot that day. That group shot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're right. It was because it started raining. No, I remember that day too. It's like you getting kind of towards the end of the season, and you're really starting to get beat. And I remember we were sitting there. I'm pretty sure it was like with Harry Hagen, filmer. He was filming with us. Now he does Vans, and I remember just being there, and I was like, didn't really know what we were hitting on. I was like, I think I'm gonna get my last shot today. Like this is gonna be my ender today. Like I don't like I'm going ham. Like I gotta just do something. Like I gotta wrap this season up. And I
Did you
remember,
know what trick it was when you have that thought?
I
in your
don't
head?
think
You're
so.
just like I want to end it.
No, and I think that was like a Laurent move with him and I. Like we would always talk about that. Like you'd probably be like pretty hungover, getting burnt out in the season. You're like, fuck it, today I'm getting my ender.
Wow.
Like I remember that day I was just like in that mode. I was like, don't care where we're going, I'm getting my ender today. Like I'm going ham. I'm lacing something. And I remember that was that day, and happened later, first try.
First try.
That's crazy, dude. I remember that trick. That was insane.
Now let's fast forward to, or maybe same year, Finland. Which you must have drank like 7,000 beers on that trip, which was amazing.
Oh, we're talking beers, boys. That was
Were the three of us on that trip as well?
Yeah.
So we were
same year.
No, so this is the funny part is I spent for sure a month in Finland, and the trip before that with you guys, that was the Dirks trip where you jumped out naked through the window, and we were drinking beers. And it was like every day we'd wake up, drink a 30-pack in the van. And poor Meyer is just like, gotta go ABC, we gotta get more beer. Go get more beer, drink all the beers at the spot, and then we would go, we would drink all the beers at the spot, and then we were driving home, we're like, we got beers for tonight. Drink another 30 beers. And then we would just constantly be doing this rotation to the point where like we're not getting like armored drunk, like super wasted, like because you're shoveling, but like Laurent's like pouring beer on his toothbrush in the morning, getting the guys all fired up, instantly cracking beers, and it's just a constant buzz for like 2 weeks. And then like, all right, go home. Like we had a beer wall going, and like these guys, like the whole maze thought we were absolutely nuts. Leave, go home. Meyer hits me up. He's like, hey, we're going to Finland tomorrow. And I remember because Yusaku Hori, my good buddy from Japan, was visiting in town. and I was like living with me at the time, and I was like, dude, I'm going back to Finland tomorrow.
That's crazy.
I literally landed, went back to Finland the next day, and that was with our crew that we were with, and the train had not stopped. Still drinking. And like we were going there, and I was like, and like you guys were on like a much more proper regime, I would say, like way more like, not to say that we weren't serious at all, like because we were very serious, like very determined to get clips, like that's what we cared about. But we also were drinking a lot. I remember on that trip, and I was just piss pounding beers. I think just piss pounding beers, and like I will say though, like not like because you get the sloppy guy, you know. Like I never was like the sloppy dude.
No, never.
Like I was always just like casually drinking, and then we had like, and my excuse was always it was like you could use a little shoveling fluid right now.
Dude, that
like,
was a trip.
Crack a beer.
I would see you. I'd be shooting a photo. You would land a trick. We'd be stoked. And before you were unstrapped, you'd have a beer going. And I'd be like, where did he get that? You had them hidden in snowbanks, like strategically.
It was like my third arm. It was like, but I remember like, and then like we would be riding and be like, not landing a trick. It's like, I need landing fluid now, I guess.
My shovel fluid, need my landing fluid.
Is just every excuse to drink beer. And you can drink beer in the van.
Breakfast fluid.
And it's so easy out there in Finland because there's so many spots. Like I feel like over the years we got so dialed with it that I wasn't spending a lot of time like having to be like mentally focused on like we have to find this spot. Like we're not spending like we knew where we were going, and so it was very casual. But I remember showing up in the hotel. Lady saw me pull into the hotel again, and she was just like, "You gotta be shitting me! Like this guy's back." I was like, and I think it was that trip or another trip too, or because we always went to the same hotel. It was always the same hotel lady. Just bless her heart.
It's got the sauna in the basement.
Sauna in the basement, and that was the thing though. Is like we could drink beers all day long, come home, sweat it out, drink beer, no hangover in the morning. Felt great. Ready to rock and roll.
Wolf of Wall Street style.
Yeah, we would sweat it out, and probably go to bed. 10 o'clock.
Maybe that no hangover was just that beer you were brushing your teeth with. You know what I mean?
Okay, probably, yeah.
Little hair of the dog.
But no, I will. I swear to God, like no, like I feel like I was never hungover. But like, yeah, you could drink all day. I'm like, I never got to that sloppy mode. But I remember when I came back after that trip, I was like, because I lived like a kitty corner to a bar at that point, and I'm like waking up for breakfast, and I'm like, I'm gonna go get a beer, and like drinking at like 10 a.m. and this is going. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. I was like that's not cool. Like it's cool when you're working and like being accomplished and with the boys, but also I was like sitting there, I'm like scratching my head. I'm like, I think this is how people develop problems. And I remember I had to like consciously like don't walk there, in the morning. Like maybe wait till like 3 o'clock.
Yeah, like watching the clock.
The other one from Finland that I always sticks out in my mind, I think we might have talked about it in Joe's episode, but there's that wall ride that you were scared about. and you I remember you were just like hammering beers before it to get.
All right, so no, this is how it went down. It's because I take the blame for this one. It's all my fault. Is I was so used to the regime before that like we're always picking up a 30-pack before the spot. And I had drank all my beers from the day before, and we didn't, we're not doing 2 beer stops a day anymore. And also when we get to this spot, I'm like, look at my backpack. I'm like, fuck, I don't have any beer. And I was like, at this point, I can't snowboard without beer. It's like, it'll throw, it's like, I could equate it to like, if you drink coffee every morning, like you need your coffee to go snowboarding. And like, we're at this spot and we had set it up. It was kind of like, I wouldn't say high pressure, but there's like roads, like easy high bus spot. I'm sitting there. I'm like looking around, like all super nervous. Joe's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." He's like, "I think I'll be fine." I'm like, I'm not like I am scared of the spot, but like, do you have any beer? He was just like, "Yeah." He's like, I think I have 4. And I looked at him. I was like, "Can I have all of them?" He looked at me. He was like, "Oh yeah, for sure. Here you go, buddy." And I just like drank 4 beers. I'm pretty sure. Hit the spot, ate complete shit.
Dude, the first go, he goes backside wall ride, and there's a screw sticking out of the wall. and he catches his toe edge at apex and falls like 15 feet directly to flat.
This was in Finland?
Yeah,
I remember this one.
After hammering 4 beers, and then his first go was a disaster. So
And I will say, 4 beers, 3 beers, or whatever it really was. I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think I was just made a mistake. I don't know. I guess I don't think I ever got drunk. It was just a little shoveling fluid.
I was at the bottom shooting, so I had no idea that went on up top.
Well, one thing that's kind of sick though is I remember bailing, and sometimes I almost prefer that because you kind of get it out of the way, and now I'm let's go. Got that one. I feel pretty fine. That hurt. I'm
that was about as bad as it can go.
that's as bad as it can get at this point. And technically, that's a shot. So,
well, all this talk about hammering beers, I think it's time for the pub beer crapshoot, huh, buds?
It is. Let's go.
Well,
You with me, Doug?
no. A little early.
Delicious.
nice.
I will say though, you guys got me on these. These are the best beers. So,
Yeah,
Delicious.
pub beer. Whether you're thinking about maybe casually having 1 or 2, or chugging 4 or 5, and then hooking your edge at the top of a wall ride, what beer are you going to choose?
We're going to go pub beer every time.
Absolutely.
Cheap, fun beer.
it's just all good on pills now.
Welcome to the Pub Beer Crapshoot.
All right, those are the Goon Gear dice. Shout out to Lucas Magoon. The Goon Gear's a 6. So roll those.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Roll those, and we'll tell you what you have to do.
How many rolls I get?
Just one.
Depends on what you land on.
All right, here we go.
I got a 6 down here and a 1, a 7.
We got a 7.
Yeah, 7.
This is my favorite question. Who is one of your favorite people to party with?
Oh, I mean, we got levels here. We got certain scenarios. Is it a blowout weekend? But that's so tough. Party. What do you mean party?
I
with?
mean, you could give us different scenarios. Why don't you take us through a couple different people, a couple different scenarios? Maybe start with a casual beer on a Friday, and then maybe stage 2 would be blowout bachelor party weekend.
I'm just gonna go with this, just because it's relevant, and I'll just say Laurent, Nick Dirks. Those are the boys. I remember, don't see him anymore, so that's why I'm what do you mean party? We don't hang out as much, but those guys was we were good partiers.
Professionals.
It's just laughing and having such a good time. I love traveling with them, and you'd wake up and Laurent would crack a beer, and just to get the boys fired up, you just pour a little beer on his toothbrush, make sure you're watching. And this is what it was too. We'd be on trips, and everyone's kind of half asleep, waking up, and the way he'd wake everyone up would just be I'm oh my God. It'd be and it's jet lag. And so we're talking 7 in the morning. And I don't know. I would say those guys were always and even Dirk, seeing Dirk this weekend, he's still ripping. And those guys I had so much fun with.
The other factor too, thinking about trips, is you have your beer, you're catching a buzz, but you're also kind of getting a buzz from the clip high. Mm-hmm. You get a clip. Yeah. Laurent was the king of when he got a trick, he's having a fucking good. Everybody's having a good time. I got a fucking back lip today, man. Let's watch the fucking clip 40 times. That was have sick. Some fucking beer. That was fucking sick, man. And
have another beer. Let's watch it again. That was sick.
Let's watch it again.
That was a spaghetti flip.
I want to get into from Justin Meyer. He had a great quote about your snowboarding. He said that your snowboarding is like bowling. 10 times you're going to get a gutter ball, but every once in a while you're going to get a strike.
We're talking gold though. I don't think strike is the right term we're using here. We're getting a double strike.
A turkey. We're getting 3 in a row.
Yeah, turkey.
Yeah, Meyer. Shout out to Meyer.
Yeah,
he's a man.
He actually has a guest question.
Chris, Eastone, Jakey. Good morning, boys. I'm sure there's a million stories you guys have already covered that are really great, because Jake is one of the loosest guys in the game and the best guy to have on a trip. But I think a really funny one that we could cue up the clip is the time that he landed on Eastone and forced a awful sound to come out of the man himself. So let's see it. Later, dudes.
Do you remember the sound you made, bud?
Dude, I was so scared.
Here we go. Let's play the clip. Ow!
Dude, I thought I was gonna die.
That's the sound of Stony Buds being scared for his life.
He had me like pinned in a corner and hit on both sides. I could have been bad.
I definitely did have a little slow motion too. I was like, oh, here we go. End of Eastone.
Yeah, dude, it could have been really bad, but somehow this guy's just fancy on the feet, diamond dancing around me. I didn't get hurt, man.
I will, yeah. I mean,
but I sure did scream.
I will say, I was like, you always have like photographers and filmers, and like they're setting up and like, you know, they're finding their spots, and you kind of see them like in the landing and like a little too close. I remember being like, you chose it. I was like, I'll try my best, but you know.
Good luck with that angle.
Yeah, things can happen out there. Luckily, nothing too treacherous has ever happened.
Well, one thing going back to Finland that just came back to mind, didn't you miss your flight home?
Oh,
he lost his passport, right?
No, this is a
different trip.
No, this was a good one. It was because I don't know how many trips I went to Helsinki, and shout out to the current wife, I love you, but I was on a trip.
Let's give the wife a big old air.
Big old horn for Miss Erin Oe. She's an absolute crusher. But before we met, we were on a trip, and what was it like? There was this girl I was talking to, and anyways, I was messaging her. I was like, yeah, it's my last night, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is like before Tinder, and like, I think Instagram was starting to pop, and I don't know how I got her phone number, but I was from a different trip. And so I went up and met with her, and she was like with her friends, and like, we were sitting there partying, and she was like, why would you even go home? Why don't you just stay? And I was like, I'll stay. It's like, should I stay? And so I just sat there, and I like changed my flight, and I just like came back. I was like, I'm staying, boys. Like, I'm not leaving Helsinki. So then I prolonged my month-long trip already in Helsinki, and then stayed out there for a while. I was just like, that's kind of the thing, though. It's like when you're traveling and like all those moments, it's like, just do whatever, like the cooler story, honestly. It's like, so like those are always the moments where you're sitting there. It's like, probably should go home. I think Yusaku is still at home waiting for me to get there. And I was just like hanging out with these chicks. I'm like, nope. Changing the flight. I'm staying.
You got to live in the moment.
You do, man. And like, I think I did a good job of it. I was conscious of that. Like, this is not going to last forever. Like, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to do it. And I'm like, take advantage of it. Like, just live life and, you know, like absolutely do your job. Don't be a shithead. But, you know, if shit like that pops up, yeah, you stay.
Love that.
I think Blue put it really well in his episode. He was like, I was chasing experiences, not chasing tricks or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's like, it's priceless. Like, when you get to travel like that and you get all these like crazy scenarios, meet all these people, and like, you know, and they say like, we should do this. Just say yes. Just say yes.
It's
because
easy, right?
It's so much easier. And then like, you're going to do it and you're going to look back and you're staring at a job and pushing your face into drywall all day long. You'll be like, yeah, glad I said yes back then.
So true. Hey, I got a quick, fun Patreon question. This is from none other than Lance Hacker. Fuck, marry, kill. Hunting, fishing, snowboarding.
How's it go again? Fuck, marry, or what is it?
Fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah.
Hunting, fishing, snowboarding.
It's a tough question for Jake. You can see he's bewildered.
I got to kill something?
You got to kill one of them.
I guess I'm killing something and everything. But
yeah. One of them's got to be killed out your life, I guess.
Something's got to be killed out my life. I don't know, like, don't like that question.
You can thank Lance for that one.
I mean, okay, I'll just be honest. I mean, at this point in my life, like where I'm at, like, I'm really into bow hunting, and so, I like to marry that. Fuck, I don't know if I could kill fishing or snowboarding. That's a tough.
Snowboarding, you might lose all of us, dog.
No, you guys. Yeah, I'll just cook breakfast. I'll just be the breakfast
You be the
guy.
cook?
I don't know. I'll just go with this. Marry snowboarding, kill fishing, and I guess fuck snowboarding.
Well, you said snowboarding twice. You got to say. I think you said marry bow hunting.
Marry bow hunting. Yeah, marry bow
fishing.
hunting, kill fishing. I don't know. I'm getting shot no matter what I say. So this just is brutal, but I like that question.
That works.
Why do you like bow hunting?
Dude, bow hunting is so sick. It actually kind of reminds me of like snowboarding a little bit because, well, anyways, to get back, it's just something to do. Like I got into it pretty early on, and then like now I'm not snowboarding as much, and I am like a very passionate person. Like I go like 120 into something, and like I just can't snowboard that much. Just like with my life right now, with work and everything that's going on, and so it's like I can't do it at the level that I want to do it. So I like that's taken a big back seat. And I'm okay with it. That's fine for now. And so, like, I have to fill that void with something. And so I definitely filled that void up with bow hunting and, like, super into it. And, like, but it's cool because, like, I love searching for spots, like, for snowboarding and, like, figuring it all out and, like, practicing shooting the bow. And I don't know. It's just a great pastime to, like, yeah, go out there. But, like, the thing about it that's, like, kind of sucks that's not like snowboarding, it's a very solitude sport. And so, like, the way I kind of have, like, my life set up now is, like in the spring, I'll go fishing. In the summertime, it's, like, very social time. Like, there's always barbecues, like, reconnect, see a lot of friends. And I get kind of burn myself out. So when, like, the fall comes, I'm really stoked to go bow hunting because it's, like, very introspective kind of thing. You get, like, you just literally wake up before sunrise. You go and climb a tree in, like, some public land that you don't really know. It's like kind of weird, and you just sit there all day long and think, like literally just think. But you're just waiting for that moment of like, and I've had a couple of really good ones where I've gotten some big deer, and it's just like that feeling is just like landing a trick snowboarding. Like that's how I kind of compare it to, which is sad because it's like you get one of those a year if you shoot a big buck, but like with snowboarding, I was getting 20 of those a year. Like it was like a sad thing, but like that's where my life's at now, and I can't like go out and like get clip high and like roll with the homies, which is cool. But like so that's kind of what I've transitioned to is the bow hunting, and I fucking love it. It's just so cool, and like being a part of nature and like really getting to know Minnesota and all those like all like the cutty spots and all these little small towns. And so I'm working my way up to one of these days hopefully get out west and get into elk hunting, because the thing about sick that's about like mule deer stalking and elk hunting is that's a group effort. Like that's the part I miss most about. So like I'm training right now, for like the glory days. This is where I'm going out and chasing elk. Like that's gonna be fucking so sick.
Yeah, you need a crew to do the elk, huh? And get it out of there.
I mean, you can, and like you can definitely get an elk bout by yourself. You have to quarter it, and it's like it sucks, but like it's like the thing about like bow hunting is like it's very primal, and you get into this mode. It's like almost like I'm like in like my filming season where I'm like obsessing over it. It's all I'm thinking about. I'm like looking at the weather, watching videos, like techniques, and like are my broadheads sharp? And it's like you just get in like this different mindset, which is kind of obsessive, which I miss. And I just want to go bow hunting. I just want to go bow hunting. I just want to shoot a big fucking deer. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's more of the challenge. And like once you conquer that, it's like very primal. It's like it's very spiritual. It's like wow, like I'm not a big fan. Like I don't want to necessarily like kill the deer, but I'm gonna eat it. Like I'm not a big guy that's going out and like shooting, killing things to kill them, killing things to eat them. And so you get there, it's emotional, like, you thank the deer and you're like that was crazy. And then like you have to track, like, get it out of the woods, and it's super cool. And
you pretty nice with the bow?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like an archery dude, but I shoot my bow a lot. Yeah. Like anyone that says like, they're like, oh yeah, like I'm like a killer, like I'm a killer shot. Like, yeah, I'm a great shot, but like doesn't really matter because it's like when you're in the moment, like that's when it gets hard. Like when you can see a big deer walking up, like you start shaking, everything happens so fast, and you have to shoot, and like, yeah. So I've been, yeah. So I mean, yeah, I'm a good shot, but it's just like it doesn't matter. Like in the backyard, like everyone's a good shot in the backyard. It's like when you're out in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. It's like shooting
the
clay,
elements.
clay pigeons versus when a duck actually comes in. It's two different beasts.
Way different.
When things get
the,
real.
the duck comes in, my Sour Patch Kids go flying all over the place, and I'm completely whiff. Whereas like I can hit a clay pigeon every time. But I think that there's a couple of cool things there too. Is like, you know, I've said this on the show a bunch, but you know, as if you think about with your snowboarding, you've done it your whole life.
Yeah.
You've I don't want to say mastered, but you've gotten extremely fucking good at snowboarding. So for you to get better requires like a tremendous effort. Like you know, you do a front two on a rail, you're like, cool, I've done that 1,000+ times in my life. Where when you're at the bottom of a learning curve, you can kind of see your progression every day.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's like kind of addictive where you're like, oh, I got better than you know, that like the bottom of a learning curve is like a really exciting thing as when you get older and find new passions.
It's super cool. And like that was one thing too, when like my snowboard career was done, it was like, I was also kind of stoked because like there's other things I want to try because I've been so devoted to snowboarding. Like I always really wanted to get really deep into hunting and like take advantage of that moment. I was like, okay, now I can do this. Now I can really devote a lot of time and focus into like this new passion of mine, you know? So I don't know. Like I'll probably be bowling forever though. Like it's fucking so sick. And like, it's so weird though. Like there's such a dynamic with like social media and bow hunting and like killing animals. Like I remember like I posted a deer that I shot. Like I was super proud of, like this big buck. I think I got immediately lost like 1,000 followers just like that. And I was just like, wow, people. But I was like, career's ending anyways. I was like, I don't really care anymore. I don't need this. But I was like, kind of, it's crazy. Like people are very particular about the conversation, which is so backwards in my head because it's like the most organic thing you can possibly do. It's like I'm going out and ethically killing a wild animal, treating it with ultimate respect, coming home and eating it. And it's like super healthy, and people are like, I think that's so fucked up that you do that. You should go to hell, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you eating? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you go and like unwrap burgers, and like, I was like, so.
It's easy for them to not understand what's actually really happening or think about it. It's out of their mind, you know?
Yeah, people are
served
so.
to you on a plate, it's different.
Yeah, people are super detached from meat, and that it's actually an animal at this point because it's such a commodity. It's like, it's just meat. It's like burger. But they don't realize that, like, that's coming from an animal that died and sacrificed for you to eat that. And so like that's why I think bow hunting's super cool too. It's like you're going out and you're killing the animal and, you know, take every piece of it and you eat it. And I think that's super cool too.
And there's another sidebar too fact that is like, you know, depending on the species of animal, but for most species, it's well over 90 to 95% of the species. I could be wrong about that number, but I know for certain species, it's protected by the people that hunt it. So it sounds very backwards and counterintuitive, but you have to pay a lot of money for a tag. You have to pay money for stamps. And so that what that money does is goes to conserve the land which these animals roam free, to protect it from that land getting overtaken by, you know, people building houses, by people moving in, to protect that public land. So it's really important to understand that when you're paying to do these things, you're actually also paying to conserve. And sure, you definitely are killing some of the animals, but also, like, if they get overpopulated, right? They can. There's other conversations where their disease spreads and things like there needs. From what I understand in my and obviously, you know, there's people are going to have completely different opinions in this, and that is totally okay. And they can be really upset with that, and that's also totally okay. You know, like that's what's fine about it too.
No, it's an absolute truth. Like that, like controversial, like conservation is what provides wildlife and like what we get to enjoy in like the state parks and being able to. And so that it's funny. It's a paradox in reality. It's because killing the animals is what's saving them. And so because also a lot of times this is the high statistics too that, you know, like especially in Minnesota, the deer, they do get overpopulated. So what happens is they get hit by cars. So they die that way, and then they kill humans in the car crashes. And so, like, there's a good balance because the wildlife, it is, like, you don't want to play God, but you also want to, you know, keep it in a lane so, you know, it's sustainable. You don't want to overpopulate it because then it fucks up other food chains, too. So that's why you pay a lot of money, you know, for hunting licenses to everyone, so you can have the scientists doing the math for us, being like, yo, this is what the herd should be. And so people hate on it, but it's like it's fair.
It's just good to see both perspectives because you have a vegan perspective that's like totally against it, and that's also fucking fine too.
Yeah,
and it's like, and it's just
there's
good
even meat eaters that are against it. Though.
Yeah,
That's what's funny.
Yeah,
like
exactly,
100%.
And so, but I think we don't need to get into full deep hunting conservation.
I do
podcast.
have one more.
Yeah,
one more question from Patreon that goes along these lines. This is from Clayton. Jake, who started the trend of Minnesotan snowboarders fishing more than they snowboard? And which snowboarder is the worst dude to have in the boat with you?
So sick.
That's a great question.
So I mean, I don't know where the trend started, but this is like where it began. So Joe Sexton and I, we like gun-ho bass fishermen. Like we went full out. So like it kind of turned into like we had our snowboard season, and as soon as that ended, we were fucking fishing. And like when I say we were fucking fishing, like it was like 3 days a week before sunrise. Like I'm setting him little pep talks before he falls asleep. Like big day tomorrow, buddy. Like the wind looks perfect. like we're gonna crush it, and we crushed it. We got super good at it, and like it was so fun. We had like this little shitty boat that Joe had, and we would just go out and fishing all the time. Like that was our life. And then like a little bittersweet when like the season would end. We're like, gotta go back to snowboarding. And then like we'd come back and we'd be like, all right, yes, it's fishing season. And then like we'd just go fishing all the time. So I mean, I don't know, like it kind of just like turned into like a bunch of dudes like in the off season. We just like started fishing. But like mainly like for me it was like big shout out to Mike Tinas, who did all the Bald Eagle videos, and like definitely created careers for the majority of the guys these days, like mad homie. And he's like, so he's the one that taught Joe and I how to like really bass fish super well. He's a really good bass fisherman. And so like we were rolling with him, and we go on trips, and Sam Fenton, the lumberjack god. And I don't know, man. We was just like obsessed over it, just like how we obsess over snowboarding. It was just like it's probably like one of those things. It's like, cause like, like when you get done filming, like it's a crazy feeling when you get done. Cause you just go. And all of a sudden the season ends, and it's like, what do I do with my life? Like, what do I fulfill this with? And it's like kind of a weird feeling. And so like you have to have something else because that's who you are. And like, it's kind of like once you're on the train, you leave the train. It's like, I don't know, it's really weird. And so it was like, we just fulfilled that with fishing. So we just went gun ho on fishing. And so it was like a really healthy, like little balance between the seasons.
We got to get back to the part 2 of the question. Worst guy in the boat. We need an answer.
That's a huge question.
All right. So
I want to know.
Okay. Worst guy in the boat. I no names. Like there's like no like.
You're going no names?
Well, like
you can't Louis Vito this. You have to give us a name.
You're gonna have to throw someone under the rug, as you like to say.
Yeah, not under the bus, under the rug.
Did I say that?
You said it twice now.
Okay, so this is like, and I don't want to shit on fly fishing because I fly fish now too. I go in the spring. I really like fly fishing, but nothing fucking worse when you get on a boat and you're going bass fishing and a fucking guy shows up with a fly rod. I was just like, no, we're not fly fishing on the boat because like if we're stacked and it's open or we're doing a weekend and a guy shows up, like there goes a lot of room for casting. And now you got this thing whipping around and we're bait casting, like I don't know, we're texting rigging, like making sure like we're very precision, and you got the fly guy in the back there. I'm just like, no fly in the boat, bud.
So who were a couple fly guys that might have showed up?
Some guys I don't really even know their names.
He's Louis Vito in this. I like it. He's giving us a dodge. I can respect a good dodge. Now, earlier you mentioned Mike Tinez. We happen to have a guest question from Mike. Here we go.
What up, Bombhole? Mike Tinez here. Got a question for Jake Olson-Elm. Jake, I always wondered how the hell you graduated college. You're a pro snowboarder, traveling and then partying every day of the week at McRudy's. Just let the listeners know how the heck you balanced it and pulled it off. And I always like to thank you for helping us sell so many signal boards over the years, man. It's crazy. Mad respect, Bombhole. Love what you guys are doing. Peace, boys.
Thanks, Mike.
absolute ledge, Mike Tines. He's he owned the youth shelter. I think that's what he's referencing. He owned a shop in St. Cloud. No way, that is so sick. Okay, so when I was snowboarding, I actually was going to college the whole time, and
I never knew that.
Yeah, so and I'm not one of those guys that says like college is like you have to do it. Like I actually really like college. I like learning and like that whole aspect. So like when I was filming, and it's such a detachment. Like I lived in a house with 12 guys and was studying and like fully living the college life, like partying every day. Like so anyways, to back up a little bit, I would go to school just in the fall. And then I would keep my house up there with the boys, and then I would go travel and film snowboarding. So I would like...
Your roommates were college kids?
College guys in St. Cloud. So they're an hour north of Minneapolis. And they don't snowboard. They don't even know what the hell I do. And they were just like, what? Like, and then they finally figured it out because whenever I would show up to the homies, like come up there from a trip, I bring big boxes of clothes and like, they're all wearing crew stuff, signal stuff to like... To this day, they're all like kitted out in snowboard gear, but I don't know, man. I thoroughly think college is such a cool experience, and like you learn so much, and you connect with so many different people from different walks of life, and and to this day, I'm very good friends with all my college buddies, and so like I didn't want to leave that with snowboarding, and I was super into soccer, even all growing up, and so like my college, like we ran the men's soccer team for St. Cloud. Which wasn't like D1, just a club team. But like I had all these things that I didn't want to leave. Like I really liked it, but then like here I'm a pro snowboarder and I probably should be riding preseason more often, but you know, I'm studying, and so I don't know, like I balance it pretty well because I just like cut the cord. I was like I'd go to college in the fall. I'd always do like the minimum, I think it was 12 credits. And so I was like, you know, I should be a doctor at this point, but
how long, how many years, and what did you study?
So business. So what I did is, just generals and business. And then I actually ended up going back to college after because I think it was like 2012. So I was at St. Cloud State for 6 years, like prime filming years. And so like kind of missed the preseason. And then I would go snowboarding and they'd be like, all right, see you, Jake. Like maybe we'll see you, and then in the summertime I would go back and live with them and then party like it's like not going out of absolute fucking style, which is like, but that's important. Like you got to get those out, and that was so fun. So I don't know if I necessarily balanced it well, but I just think it's super cool. But then I ended up dropping out because I remember like I was going on so many more trips, like preseason, like I can't remember like going to Scotland. And I'm like trying to convince my teachers that like I'm missing class, and I'm like seriously, this is my job, and like. Rightfully so, they're like, it doesn't matter, like you're gonna fail, and like I would still like do homework and like somehow make it work, and then it got to the point where I was like, I can't do it anymore, and so then I had to just fully drop out. But by then they already graduated, so I was like, oh, like duh, it's been 5 or 6 years. So then I dropped out, and then but then like 3 or 4 years, 5 years now ago, like right when I ended snowboarding, got into carpentry. Did that super heavy for years, and I was like just had a little bit left to college, and so I just went ham and finished my degree.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Congrats.
it's cool, man. It's it's super cool. Like the things you learn in college is like what we learn on the road on the bus, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like that is a very real thing. Like everything that we talk about and hanging in the hallways and traveling is all the same stuff you learn in college to a certain degree. Like there's certain functionalities that like college like kind of like fine-tuned for me that's like helped me with business, but yeah, so
like in college you learn how to like properly tie a bungee and pull it back. Things like that.
Yeah. And a lot of college is just the relationships you
dude
foster,
it's so true, man. Like, and like I say what do they say, it's like C students hire A students to teach B students, and I fully believe that because like the C students are the entrepreneurs that know the A people that are going to teach the B guys.
Damn, wow. I never heard that before.
Yeah, I never heard that either.
Yeah, and I fully believe it.
One more time clearly from the beginning.
So it's the C, so like we're talking about grades.
Yeah.
So like the C students hire the A students to teach the B students.
Ah.
So it's like the C students are the CEOs, and maybe the A students are the directors that manage the B students. And like to this day, like it's fully true. Like all my buddies, like there was some guys did okay. Like I was a for sure C student. Like even when I went back to college, I was for sure a C student. Like not that I wasn't like, I gave it my all, and it like wasn't that I was smart, but it was like, I don't know. It was like C student's good. Like you should be happy with C's. Like it's a passing grade. But like even like all my friends that are C students, very successful. Everyone that was like doing really good in college, super focused. Unless you become like a doctor or a lawyer, like that's a different scenario. But like not as successful because the C students are creating all those people skills in the bar and relationship building and how to navigate the world, and the A students are so focused on getting the A's.
Yeah, they can't really function in the people scenario
then you get
properly.
in those scenarios, kind of like what we were saying about like, you know, the better snowboarder versus the guy, you know, that's easy to get along with. Like the guy that's getting easy along with he's the am rider. Like that's just the way the world works, and rightfully so.
That's a great point. That's great
that.
life. We're getting life advice from Jake O.E. I love to hear it.
Just like we hoped.
Oh yeah, buckets going around. So feel free to leave a tip.
I want to get into your career because I thought it was kind of interesting. You know, financially, you know, if you look at like take for example team managers, it seemed to me like you did okay, but it wasn't like you were Scrooge McDuck, right? Like
definitely wasn't Scrooge McDuck.
And it seemed like at certain points, like maybe like it was harder to find sponsors in some situations, and it was like you were every team manager's favorite snowboarder, but then like not always, you didn't always end up on like the big money team kind of thing.
Yeah, so like I was kind of like a wizard with like out of rotating sponsors at all time.
A wizard.
I was definitely a wizard. Like I always had like all these, like I always had like a bunch of little sponsors, but I never have like the big like Monster, like the energy drink sponsor, just because like rightfully so, I wasn't really a poster child.
Dude, I always thought you were very photogenic. You did cool stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know. So like with that, like I don't know. I was always really good about like forecasting and seeing like where my contracts were going and when they were ending. And so I was always like had my foot like 1 foot in the door ahead of time. So like if this contract was like drying up, it usually means the company wasn't surviving.
Yeah.
And so then I would be able to like hop around. So I was fortunate, like definitely fortunate, very thankful for all my sponsors. That
you got on Quicksilver for a while, and that
Quick was
probably
sick.
a good check, I bet.
Yeah, Quick was sick, and Signal always paid me well, and I don't know, like I was always I was always just gonna be able to get like little buckets from everybody, and like they're always like pretty loyal to me. So like I was able, Quick was so fucking cool, and then all of a sudden it lasted for like 2 years, and then they just had to pull the rug. It was just classic for.
Now,
these riders.
I'm curious, you know, I always wondered like how your career kind of ended. I never knew exactly what happened.
So the way it ended for me was, it was like definitely ending. I could kind of get that feeling that like, oh, like another sponsor is not going to survive. Like I'm probably going to lose that check. And, so anyways, I kind of saw it coming. And so I was like I got to start coming up with a backup plan. So I started working carpentry with my uncle, Paul Olson, who's a G, big shout out. And he's a general contractor. So I hit him up. I was just like, hey man, can I start working with you in the summer? Like I got to start building some skills. So he helped me a lot, show me the ropes. And then like, so I would do that like a little bit, like not full time in the summer, because it was like priority was definitely fishing. And, so then I kind of built up those skills, like a little bit of novice level. Like we're not talking like a good carpenter, but then I got this opportunity like the next year where it's so fucking random. I was posting photos on my Instagram of like my tools, and one of my buddies hit me up. He was like, "Hey, like we're dying for carpenters. Like, you know, I see you're a carpenter these days. Do you want to come be one of our carpenters?" I'm like, whoa, like. Because they wanted me to be a trade partner, so I would be doing a lot of their remodeling for them. So it was a big gig, and I was like, "Well, they didn't ask if I was good at this, so I'm not lying." But I just said I was like, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
And so then
Say yes.
But it was sick because like, so I was like, I would do one job for them, and then like, just I sweat my balls off. A lot of YouTube, like sitting there. So I was like, maybe like a 2-day job, and I'd probably do it in 2 days, but it was like, 15-hour days of me just like shitting bricks, making sure it worked. And I figured it out, learned it, and then like, hey, they love that. Like, we got another one for you. We got another one for you. Got another one for you. I picked it up like a lot, just all from YouTube, just watching YouTube, being in that scenario, and like getting into like skirt boards. And I'm like, fuck, I have no idea how to do skirt boards. And I remember just sitting there like, but I don't want them to find out I don't know how to do this. Like, I couldn't really talk to anybody about it. So I just watched YouTube, figure it out. And there's only
skirt board.
Skirt boards is the trim going up the stairs.
Oh.
So it's very intricate, and you have to find like all the angles.
45s. And
yeah, it's like.
You gotta have it right, or it's gonna look real bad.
Yeah, you can't fake it to make it on skirt boards.
Yeah.
Like, you really gotta know what's up. And so like, I remember like this specific moment where I was like, because they would just send me blueprints, and I'd show up, do the blueprints, and I didn't. This was the first time they had skirt boards on there. I was just like, drop my belt. I'm like, I'm busted. Yep, this is it. Like, this is fully it. And then
the jig is up.
And I remember going to lunch and like pulling up YouTube, and I was just watching. I was like, you can do this. Like, you got it. And I did it, and I crushed it, and it worked out. And they're like, love it. And my buddy called me one day. He's like, I got good news and bad news. I was like, busted. Like, they know I'm not like that good of a carpenter. And he was just like, I was like, what's the good news? He was like, they let go of the other carpenter. Like, they had like 3 of them at the time. They let go of so and so. I'm like, okay, what's the bad news? He's like, you're not gonna have a life. I was like, fuck. So after that, they just sent me everything, like all the big projects, and same thing. I did that for like a year.
So you did better than the real carpenters.
I was just like, it was a trade partner, so we're all getting the same wage. It's just like all per linear foot, so it's not like there's actually no negotiating. And
can you explain what a trade partner is?
So like a trade partner is like, okay, so if like you're a general contractor,
sorry, go ahead.
If you're a general contractor, you're gonna have your trade partners. So you're gonna have your electrician, your carpenter, your plumber, and so like that's a relationship when like you like, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but your trade partners, it's like we're together on these projects, because if that GC loses their trade partners, they're not gonna be able to build anything because they're just the general contractor. So I was a trade partner for them. And so they let go one of their carpenters. So now it was just me and the other guy. And I had no fucking life. And so then that was the year where like I was getting paid snowboarding, but I had like such a good gig. And I was like, and if I left, like I didn't know what I was going to do. And so I was like, I'm just going to do this. Like, I think it was the right move. So I just went face first into carpentry. And like, it was kind of cool. It was like almost like snowboarding again, like work all day long, like do carpentry, like see what I'm doing the next day, like look at the blueprints, like watch all this, like all the carpentry videos. I like all my carpentry Instagram guys I fan out on, and like learned so much from that, and I picked it up pretty quick. And then and so then also I was just like, next thing I knew, I like woke up, I'm like a full blown carpenter.
You're good at it and you liked it.
I liked it. It's super cool. I really liked it. But then like, so now I'm like off and running, and like I'm picking up bids on the weekend, and so like now I'm like not snowboarding at all. And so I was like bummed, but like I was able to like take that like bumness into that, because now I have this new passion, right? And like now I'm just doing carpenter. And I will say it's crazy because it's like kind of addicting when you go from like a snowboarder into that, because when like a snowboarder, it's a salary. Like other than incentives, like no matter how hard you work, you know exactly what you're getting paid. And like, you know, and like the hard work is so you get re-signed, and that all makes sense. But like with carpentry, it was like the more I said yes, the more money I made.
Yeah.
And I was like, boom, 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 just stacking cash, taking up things on the weekend. And I was doing that for 3 years. And then like all of a sudden, like I remember one day like sitting in my truck with my breakfast, like sun's about to come out, going to a job, and I was like, I'm gonna be doing this forever if I don't. And like I have so much more to offer than this. Like, I'm really glad I'm doing it. And so then that's when I went back to school, and I was like, I'm going to go back to school and just like round out this degree. And then I got into like project management for a construction company. And
nice. Yeah. Take it to a bigger level.
Like use my brain. It's like, and I really like, carpenters are the boys. Like it's a hard job.
Let's give a shout out to all those manual labor.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Unsung heroes working hard.
Dude, and it's a great gig, dude. Like for anyone out there that's like, you know, trying to figure out what they want to do, seriously, go into construction. You learn so much so fast. You make really good money for even at the entry levels. Like you can hone your skills pretty quick too, because people, I didn't have that because I went like the full trade partner right out the gates, and like was like, I guess I got YouTube, so I had like no one else to ask questions to. But like if you come on, as like a young apprentice, like working alongside them, you'll learn it fast. So
another thing too that is something I always loved about manual labor too is when you get going on a project and you really hit like a flow state the same way you do snowboarding.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going, you're grabbing a piece of lumber, you're chopping it, you throw it in there, it fits, and you got your next piece, you're throwing a tape measure, and all of a sudden you're like moving and you're like, you're like in this weird flow at some
exactly, dude. Hours go by.
Yeah.
Like I remember like towards the end, like it was like I was so efficient with it that like it was almost mindless to the point where it's just like you're flowing, you have all your processes, you're chopping, stacking, installing, gluing, blah, 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 getting it all done. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what just happened? Like, this is just like snowboarding.
5 o'clock, 6
It's like,
o'clock, let's go.
Whoa, okay, it's time to go home. But then like, but yeah, but the thing that's really cool about it is you get to see the reward. It's kind of like, when you land a trick. There's an end product that you get to see, like especially in carpentry. I remember just sitting there being like, what the fuck? How did I do this? Like, this is so sick. This looks so cool. And it's like baller ass house.
All right, we have one more guest question. This guest question is presented by Mountain Dew. That's right, Mountain Dew. Do the do. This is from Mountain Dew team rider, Danny Davis. Here we go.
What is your most enjoyable moment on your snowboard? Describe to me the best time you've ever had on your snowboard.
Love it, Danny. Thanks, bud.
Yeah, no, did you see his eye roll?
What is this you've been doing over here?
This, I don't know, I have this back.
Long stretch?
Oh, my back, I have this pinched nerve. What is the best moment on my snowboard? It's just the curves, just cruising down the hill.
Curves? Did you say curves?
Curves.
Curves.
And what I really like to do is actually kind of fun. I've been doing with my friends is filming my carves, going down the groomers, and it's just like so cool to like see me carving down the hill. So that's been my that's my new big thing right
Your
now.
new or your no high back carve.
You're a carve guy.
You're a no high back.
I'm a big carve guy. I go out there and just like hit the groomer.
You can't even do a hillside carve.
Really lean into it.
Grabbing rails.
No, that's actually full of shit.
Wow. Would you describe yourself as the most full of shit human on planet Earth?
Working towards it, We gotta, you're a pretty full of shit guy yourself. So,
takes one to know one.
Let's not beat around the bush here.
Yeah, that's true. Let's not beat around the bush. And Buds has a gigantic one, so.
Oh, I've seen him in the onsen. Don't worry about that.
The old bird's nest.
The old bird's nest.
All nest, no bird.
He's like, I don't know where my mic went. I was like, oh, there you go.
It's like a fanny pack. You just store things in there. Store loose change and cash.
Anything you want, really.
Debit cards. All kinds of miscellaneous items in the bush.
I think I got one of those for you. Hold on, let me take a look.
Let me check down here.
Lose things in there.
Yeah, lose it in the bird's nest.
Shout out to the lady.
Okay, man, we've been really cranking along. We're gonna get into hot takes. Hot takes is presented by Oakley. I run the Line Miner goggles, which I love, and also I run the Mod 5 helmet. But I've been trying to get my hands on the Mod 1 Pro. I think that's the really dope.
Is this you trying to put an order in right now?
Yeah, I've been trying to get an order. I think they're sold out, but the one you really want, from what I've gathered the intel, the one that you really want, that all the pros, the guys that know what they're doing wear, is the Mod 1 Pro.
Mod 1.
So, that being said, we're going to get into hot takes. Now, MJ of snowboarding, male and female, Jake O.E., what is your answer?
What is who's the god?
Who's the goat?
Who's the goat? That's such a
From your viewpoint.
From my viewpoint? Yeah. God, I'm just gonna have to just go with the simple Dirks, I think.
Nick Dirks?
Woo! He's still crushing beers. Currently looks a little scary in my book.
Dude, his hair was looking nice, dude. All dyed up, random colors.
But he's sick, dude. He's just like I don't know, he's just a sick bro snowboarder. It was just I don't know, crushing beers, running it, like dyeing his hair all crazy colors, like not truly actually not giving a fuck. And I think that's sick. So I don't know. Going guy, we're going with the old dirts.
Okay, female, who you got?
Female, well, we have to go with Desiree because like we're homies and she's the goat, so that's a little bias, I guess. But
because we're homies.
That's a very solid answer.
But I guess it's biased because I know Dick or whatever Dick Nurks anyway. So
who you got for most underrated boarder?
Most underrated boarder. I mean, I don't know if you know what. I'm just gonna follow my gut here. I'm gonna say Tommy Towns.
Tommy Towns?
Tommy Towns.
This is a great roster of answers. I'm loving this.
He's the future.
Now, this one doesn't really apply to you, but we ask it a lot.
Dude, Tommy rolled up to me at the event. Never met him before. Didn't even know what he looked like, you know? But he just rolled up and he's just like, hey, I'm Tommy.
And like, hi, I'm Tommy.
Yeah, like all kind of funny, like said it in a funny way. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, I had no idea who he was, but then he walked away and I saw some dust box pants and I was like, oh, okay, that's the
legend.
That's the legend.
Tommy T.
Born and bred.
So we asked this one. It doesn't really apply to you, but highbacks over or under the pants?
That's actually such a sick question. Okay, so I don't know. Like, definitely not the full like roll up boot dealio. Like that's always a tough one. But over, I would just say
you don't have highback, so it's always
you don't have highback. So.
Not a lot of options over in this side.
So, best style on a snowboard. Who you got?
Who do I got? I'm gonna just say this. It's more of a genre. I'm just gonna say the Japanese riders. I think they all got such sick style. And Yuki this weekend, like, I don't know if like I don't want to generalize. I think that's a bad thing nowadays, but I think like whatever reason, I love watching Japanese snowboarders. They always have such sick style. So
good vibe
we'll
to
go
them
with
too.
That. Yeah, that's just
a lot
always
of pop.
Yeah. They do it right.
All right. Well, I don't know if this will ever happen, but if you could go heliboarding with 3 people, just good times, you know, you're just doing some pow turns down the hill. Who you taking? Where are you going? Not where you're going, just who you're taking.
Well, yeah, where we're going, I wouldn't even know.
Just take it to Highland. You're taking a heli to Highland.
That would suck.
That would rule, dude. Right in hell.
All right, so we're going to like, you know, like a Baldface-esque kind of area, like white. I don't know, like where you would heli out there, but I think I'd just bring the boys. Maybe the 3 of us would go out.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, we're invited.
That's a good answer.
You guys are invited, just the boys. Just go out and go for some cruisers. And anyone that's like a good shit talker would have to be on there. Because we're in the heli, you know.
Yeah.
Could be a long flight. And I don't want to be sitting there with no cell service. So I'm more worried about the heli flight up than the ride down.
Okay, you know, we sometimes hit this one, sometimes don't, but the beaver slap, you know, getting the snow off the board in the lift line, you smacking tail.
I'm a big beaver slapper.
You are.
I fucking love it.
Wow.
I think it's so funny. Like I've heard you guys say that before, and I was just like, I'm a beaver slapper. I fucking knew it.
You can't beaver slap on the
Well, no,
road
it's a real thing though, because I fucking hate when you have all that snow on your board.
Oh yeah,
and like you're up there. And pro tip though, if you really are having a good day, you don't want to go beaver slap. You want to keep the snow on your board so you could throw snowballs at skiers as they're riding down. So I always like, sometimes I'll go anti-beaver slap, load it up, and so I have some balls ready to rock. But if if I'm in like go mode, I'm beaver slapping the shit out of it. Like I'm here to win, boys. Watch out.
Okay, worst trend in snowboarding. What do you got?
Worst trend in
worst trend in life. Whatever, however you want to.
Yeah, whatever you want to frame it up as.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to get too much hate for this. Like the worst trend in snowboarding. I was talking with some of my buddies. Is like, it's like I feel like snowboarding is like everyone's like filming less almost. Like they're so worried about like it needs to be perfect and it needs to be like this and like. Like I talk to guys and they're like, yeah, I got a couple clips this year. I'm cool with it. Like they're kind of cool. It's like whatever. I was like, what happened? Like what happened? Like we would get a shot a day. Like we would like go out and get ham and like it was like, which back it up because maybe we weren't doing it right because their shit's always super cool. But I hate to see that like vibe of like everyone's like, it's kind of whatever. I'm just gonna get a couple clips this year and see what happens. I was like. No, like let's get juice. Let's fire it up. Let's get a bunch of clips. Let's go hang.
So, I like that.
I don't know. I like that trend.
That's a great. Yeah, that might be my favorite answer.
That was good.
I've heard on Worst Trend is like not filming a A-grade video part. Basically, is essentially what your answer is.
Yeah, just go out there and it's,
You're a pro snowboarder. Let's go do this.
Yeah, and that's the fun stuff. Like you want and then that's when that's actually when the magic happens though. Is like you get into these scenarios and something crazy happens that wasn't necessarily planned on. It's like I'll say like Kuzik gets away with it because he's very calculated and I really like the way he rides and I think he kind of influenced a trend of like being very particular and like way things are going, and that's cool, but like not for everybody because
but he makes a video part happen.
Yeah. Like Kuzik crushes it. Like, but I'm saying I have a feeling like he kind of influenced some people, and now they're like, yeah, I'm just waiting for the right thing. And it's like if we all do this, we're not gonna get very much shit out. So like, let's just like, and then you don't get the sick bails, which are more important a lot of times. So.
And that confidence grows from getting those shots, and that's how progression happens. So yeah, you need to be snowballing.
Yeah, we're definitely a quantity over quality kind of guy over here.
I just love how you always would set up spots and like you said it earlier, but make it harder for yourself. Like, dude, you could spend like 10 more minutes and just make the lip onto that thing good. You're like, nah, it looks sick. Dude, it looks sick. Dude, you're landing on pavement. Dude, it looks sick.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what I was really thinking. But it was just like this thing in my head, like I wanted to be like core, or like, I don't know, like, not, I don't know. I hate to say that because I think that's kind of a bad term, but it's like, it's just cool when it's like raw. Like, raw is sick. And like, when we get the reverse cheese wedges going a little bit too much, which is like the reverse cheese wedge landing, which I always thought was like looks stupid. And then like, and there are scenarios where it works and that's cool, but like I always would see these reverse cheese wedges. We'd spend all the time to build it, and then they're flying over it anyways and landing flat. I'm like, what are you doing? Just get rid of the reverse cheese wedge, and the shot looks sick.
90% of the time they clear.
They always clear it. And I remember like early on, I think I like threw out. I did a pretty good job of reverse cheese wedge of like trying not to do it. Like, yes, it's gonna be harder, but like in my soul, at least it looks cool in my head, and like that's what mattered most for me.
Now, a couple other things before we wrap up, though. You did pretty much your whole career with Videograss with Justin Meyer. You knew how to capture your personality perfectly, which is what shined through. And but then you filmed for Snowboarder Mag Video, and you and Gooner, and it was you, Gooner Blum, right? Was that your crew?
Ethan Dice.
Oh, Dice too.
Oh,
yeah, Dice Man.
Dice Man. Dude, that crew was fucking legendary. And I'll say that from the aspect because Ethan Dice and I were always really good friends growing up, but like that was like I felt like the first time like we got to ride a lot together. And Magoon and like Blum, like we're always boys, but boy, we squatted up. And it was just like game over. Dude, Magoon's the absolute man. It was such a good dynamic. And Forrest Bailey was in that too. And he ended up getting hurt though. But yeah, that crew was so sick. It was like the antics were just beyond, like a little bit like Star Wars pretty core, but it got a little too much. I think at some point, it's like Meyer would have loved it, but it was just like, yeah, it was kind of all level with those guys. And I don't know, Magoon's such an inspiration too. Like riding with him, like was super cool. And that's when he was on the sauce and like partying. We're definitely doing spot beers every day, and like. But the thing that was so cool is like hanging in the hotel and then like we're done and it's like stay up kind of late. Like 7 a.m, Magoon is up, has his boots on, tied, sitting there, eating breakfast, and I have shorts and flip flops on. And I'm like, whoa, Goon, like you're smoking me. I always thought like I would always get up early and like want to be like the last guy to the getting food at, at the whatever free continental breakfast. But Goon would show up with his gear on and his board sitting there, and that fired me up. And I was like, all right, let's go. We're getting clips today, boys. So that was a sick crew.
So I have another Patreon for you.
Love it.
This is from Eric Leone.
Whoa, sick. Shout out. He's got one of the better hand plants in the game.
He has a quality plant. I am curious, what initially got you interested in community outreach programs like Cool Meets Cause? After all these years giving back to community that you grew up in, what are some of your biggest takeaways from bringing snowboarding to kids from the inner city?
Damn, that is sick. So like the way like okay, so like this is the way I always looked at it is I'm actually like so thankful for snowboarding and everything it has given me and like life, friends, and so it was like I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago, there's this guy Anthony Taylor. He was running a program, was bringing these girls in from North Minneapolis, which is, I mean, no one's really gonna understand the geographic areas here, but in Minneapolis, like there's downtown and there's this little tiny resort called Theodore Wirth. Right next to that is North Minneapolis, which is a more inner city, rougher neighborhood. And I always was just like, it's so sick because like these guys like should be snowboarding. They could walk to this little resort. So I linked up with him years ago through a friend and was like, hey, I want to get involved. Like, but I was like traveling so much, I couldn't help him out. Like, I think it's so cool what you're doing. And then like we met up down the road and we started chatting more about it. And then it was Joe Sexton and I and him, and we're like, we started a program where we would bring girls in from North Minneapolis to go snowboarding. And like that's when I was like out, and so I was like missing snowboarding. And I didn't really know how to like get back into it because I didn't want to film necessarily, but I was like, this is my way to give back. And so I was bringing these girls in and teach them, and it was like very fulfilling. It's super cool to just. It's really cool because like I've seen like even like other athletes that'll do that, and it's like their way of giving back. And so it's like I wanted to give something back because I want to see that for them too, and it's cool to see like that spark in their eyes. So that's really how it all started. It was just like it was really organic, and then like it blew up to a sense where like we had like 20 girls consistently a week coming out, and like it was really funny too because their parents were like really weirded out, like who is this white guy trying to take our kids snowboarding, and like is this creepy, is this weird? So they were really I feel like they were like a little uncomfortable with it. And then like as the community grew, like the parents got super involved, and now I'm friends with like a lot of the parents, and I go golfing with one of them, and it's like it turned into like this little family where like some moms, you know, like I was the pizza dude, so I always brought pizza. Like that was my big thing. I'd buy big five pizzas and bring it up, and then like the moms are helping out. The girls love it. They got really good at snowboarding, and like Anthony has structure, and like I have some structure, and then like we had our buddy Kyle Hansen come in and help out, and he was like they had some structure, but like okay, you're the pro athletes, like teach them how to snowboard. I'm like, I don't know if I know I can teach someone how to snowboard. Like I just like know how to do it, so it was like. Luckily, like no one really ever got hurt, but like it was like we're just getting the girls up there. We did a fundraiser, got all these snowboards to the community, which was super cool. We collected like 25 setups, which is they're all really old shitty snowboards, which is really sick because it's like they're not on like all this brand new gear. You're not setting the tone. Like this is like you have to like kind of work with like the grind boards that are like whatever, like it's not gonna be super easy. So they're on all these like really sick old graphics. Kind of just like push them down the hill and like really like sit down there and help. And like some of these girls freaking rip, and they got really good at snowboarding. So it's just like I don't know, like that was really it. Like it was like 5 years ago when we got involved, and it's kind of built like this little community. It's like I've met a lot of really cool people through it. So
that's rad. Yeah, that can change somebody's life too.
100%. And that's really my thing. It's like it's not really about teaching them snowboarding. It's about just them opening their eyes to like there's other things you can do in Minnesota. There's like so many parks, so many free things you can do out there. And so it's like it's really teaching them like how to learn something new. And like some of them, because we really were pushing to get the parents involved, and like we had some moms that this one mom came out and she was like, thank me so much. She was like, I didn't know you could do stuff outside of Minnesota in the wintertime. It's so cold. She's like, I was like, yeah, you can do this like all year round. You just got to dress warm and like keep moving. She was just like blown away, and like seeing that click is like the real win. It's like just opening their eyes. And now like one of the girls, like she's getting into archery and like utilizing the park even more, and they're enjoying it, and like they become friends. And so that's like the real win right there.
Killer. Well, Jake, I think it's been a hell of a chat. Before we wrap it up, too, I got to ask, what's next for Jake OE? What do we got on the docket?
I don't know, boys. Just keep my nose in the ground. Just working, building my career. So I don't know. I it's good to have like 5-year, 10-year plans, and I definitely have that. But like right now, like even with like the construction industry, like now I'm selling lumber, working for a lumber yard, and I just keep my nose to the ground, just work and just keep building my skills, and that's next for me.
Well, you should come out to more snowboard events and stuff. Like,
That's
it was so fun having you at Bombhole Cup.
Yeah.
So fun seeing you at Red Bull Heavy Metal.
Yeah, like I definitely want to like that's gonna be like my new thing is like I want to like docket some like a couple trips a year where I just come and help. Like even today, like I was so thankful and so happy to just be a part of the crew and help you guys out. Like that's where I can see me living. Like bring the lady out. Maybe we'll have kids by then. You know, bring the little shithead OE with and
Shithead OE.
A future shithead. I mean, that's kind of my thing. Is I want to get my hands a little bit more involved, just help out, like what you guys are doing, all my friends, and making sure, everyone's still chill.
Amazing. Well, you want to throw out any thank yous before we put a bow on this thing?
No, I mean, I would say like big thank you for sure, Mike Tines, like Bald Eagle Productions is like definitely what helped me create my career, and the guys from Signal, Dave Lee, Mark Ranga, like. Those guys are like brothers to me. They definitely showed me the ropes, and it's like they took me on so many fucking cool trips. So I'm like really thankful for them, and obviously my family and for you guys.
Yeah, dog.
Thankful that we're still buddies, and nothing's changed. And then most importantly, I want to like to thank Mrs. OE and hopefully the future litter we got coming along. So. Want to thank her. She's a massive support, and life would not be good without her. So, love you, babe. You're the best.
Amazing. Well, we want to say thank you for being you, Jake.
Yeah, Jake.
Honestly, thank you for being you and being a huge inspiration to all these snowboarders coming up, all the snowboarders of our generation, and you are a national treasure, Jake.
You guys are national.
You need to be preserved at all costs. So I also want to say thank you to all of our listeners. Anybody that watches on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe if you're watching, or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any. And we really appreciate all of our sponsors, all of our listeners, all of our Patreon members. You guys fucking rule. Over and out from the bomb hole.
Peace.